The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, live now.
Hey, this is Maddie Neidhart coming at you from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and you're listening to TrashTalkingRadio.com every Tuesday from 7 to 10.
This is Ole Anderson. I've been talking to a guy named Fred. What kind of a name is that? Well, I'll tell you what. Listen to this Trash Talking Radio because you're going to get the latest information on professional wrestling. Remember, if Ole Anderson tells you to hitch up a grasshopper to a freight train, don't ask a lot of questions and don't ask the Trash Talking Radio questions. Just hit him up.
Hello, this is Mick Foley telling you to listen in to Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday, 7 to 10, and tune in to TrashTalkingRadio.com. Have a nice day.
This is Tina Small. This is Trash Talking Radio. Yeah, Trash Talking Radio is a fun place to be. I appreciate you having us out, and I think everybody would enjoy and learn a lot by just coming and listening to Mike Trash Talk.
Who's better than Canyon? Well, the only people I know are the people on Trash Talking Radio from 7 to 10 every Tuesday night on TrashTalkingRadio.com.
Hey, this is Terry Funk, and I want to tell you egg-sucking dogs out there, but to listen to Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday night, 7 to 10.
Hello, all you creepers, humanoid lifers, 7 to 10 every Tuesday, TrashTalkingRadio.com. So now there's a lot of you creepers, humanoid lifers that I haven't spoken to for a long time. So please, sit up, pay attention.
This is the Enforcer. Listen up, this is the pretty hit machine, Jason Gotti. And if you're not listening to the radio Wednesday night at 7 p.m.,
Trash Talking Radio. That's right. It's all about the Trash Talking Radio Show. Welcome to the show. I'm going to do something unusual. I'm going to introduce you.
Ooh.
With my compadre, with Trish.
Sidekick sounds better.
I didn't kick you in the side. No,
Yeah.
No matter what you said.
No, you just threw chicken wings.
I haven't done that. I only did that one time, and I did that way, way long ago. And you deserved it, because I wouldn't do it if you didn't. Anyway, welcome to the show. We are on our late time, although I would have been on time had the technical difficulty not happened. How do I envision Mike Trash without a police?
That's what I was wondering.
I don't know. How do you envision
I would like to report an attempted burglary.
with Mike Trash?
And you need the Department of Sanitation.
Oh,
You
where's
need to
Harry?
know
Where's Harry at?
whether to put this dead piece of shit on the curb for pickup or... Jeez.
I don't know what that is, but all right. So here we are. It looks like everything is working in Facebook. It says there's a couple people in the chat room, but I don't see anyone.
Yeah, I don't either. Of course, I never see half the people in the chat room.
Well, it's because you're blind.
No.
Get your glasses fixed or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Little by little, I'm just making sure everything's working here. All right, we're there. Okay, so I can put that. All right, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. Yep, we're on Twitch. We're on YouTube. Uh-oh, maybe not YouTube. Let me see. I'm trying to see. Stream ended 46 seconds ago. Oh, maybe if I wait a minute, hold on, let's refresh it. Let's see, is it there or isn't it? It is there. There we are. We're on there too. And we're on Periscope and Roku, and we're on The Mix. The Mix is our home away from home, because they're in Florida and we're not.
Well, from what I saw, I'm glad we're not in Florida.
Yeah, really, that's one of the stories about tonight. Okay, so we'll let's get this story started, shall we?
I've heard that somewhere before.
Now, if I get my trackball working, where is my device? remove the track. Oh, no, it broke.
It's right there. I can
No,
see it.
That's where the trackball is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try
What
to-
you should do is use a Q-tip with rubbing alcohol.
Well, I have not any of that here right now. So I'm probably going to do this a couple more weeks before I remember to bring alcohol down here. And,
I'll just have to text you and
or maybe, tell me when I'm here and you're here, or when I'm there and all that. So we actually started on time, but I stopped the show because we weren't getting audio. Well, no, we were getting audio, but we were not getting the right audio. So
I'm not saying a word.
it was broke. So, all right, now which trackball does that? This one here. So I'm going back. All right, we're back. Oh, hey Lobo, haven't seen Lobo in what, years? I haven't seen him since I don't even remember when I saw Lobo last. His family used to own the Strand in Lebanon, where we used to have we had wrestling shows there, and that's where Pam got kicked in the head by Greg Matthews.
Oh,
And she, as much as it scared me that she got kicked, she wore that as a badge of honor. She just would always tell the story how she was doing photography for me, and that was before I knew you. And she was up at the ring, and Greg Matthews flew over the ring, and she was just a little bit too close, and she got kicked in the head. It was one of those things that you just, never expect to happen, but she really wore that with a badge of honor. She would talk about that all the time. What's up? Well, we're just doing a show here, and I'm doing my music thing, and doing the radio show thing, and acting, and all that other stuff. I'll tell you what, I got a lot of information. A lot of people are impressed with the fact that I worked in wrestling on my resume, and that's given me some jobs, acting jobs. So, just kind of cool. You don't wrestle anymore, I'm guessing, because I haven't. I don't know that for sure because I actually haven't been paying much attention to it. But I haven't.
yeah, believe me, I tried to get you to go to shows and you just won't do it.
I'm so busy all the time, and now with the corona
Yeah.
stuff, I don't even leave the house.
Well, that's understandable. And you do leave the house.
Very, very few times. So I went to Atlantic City, but that doesn't count.
You still
as
left
leaving
the house.
Doesn't count as leaving the house.
Yes, it does. You
Yeah.
still left the house, so don't even give me
Left
that.
the state. I didn't leave the house. Left
No,
the state.
you left the house to leave the state, so don't even give me
Used the
that.
transporter. Didn't leave the house.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway. All right. Let's get this thing going. All right. What am I talking about today? Got a lot of stuff to talk about. First off, I'm taking donations for a new trackball. So, if anybody wants to donate, I'm going to start my GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Oh,
Yeah, for a
jeez.
trackball. For a $50 trackball, I'm gonna do a GoFundMe. So if anybody wants to go,
Wait a minute, your birthday's coming up. I'll buy you one for your birthday.
What birthday? I don't know anything about that. All right. Are you a Jeopardy follower?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll do this today.
No,
How many of these Jeopardy clues can you answer?
not too many.
I have no idea. I haven't even looked at it. I don't even know what it is. I don't know how hard it is, how simple it is. I just thought I kept that. I was going to use that for you and
Ashley.
and the former other co-host that disappeared. And since she never showed up again, I'm assuming that she's like my brother, fired. So, like you fire them because they don't show up, and as if they don't even know. Anyway, I was going to do that with you guys. I have not read the answers, so I could be a willing participant as well because I don't know I don't know the answer.
I always forget to phrase the answer in the form of a question.
Okay, well, I don't know either. All right, If hold that one, and if we have a lull in the show.
Okay.
Okay, it says here, I tore my bicep on Black Friday. I'm recovering.
Ouch.
Not sure if I'm done yet. Oh, so you are still was still wrestling. I always liked Lobo, and I love their team, the dogs, the Dog Pound.
Yeah.
I always loved those guys. I wanted to manage them really bad, but we never had the chance to work together like that. They were a cool tag team.
Well,
for
if
a
he's
long
ever
time.
down at Fort Noxious, you could always go down there and see him.
Well, I don't know if he is or not. I have to ask him. Why don't you ask him?
I just did.
No, you didn't. You talked to me.
Oh, stop.
You didn't ask him. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to hold off on that, but I will possibly come back to that. All right. Do you ever wonder what UFC guys make and girls make?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that. So, I guess I got to put the screen up where you can actually see it. That's not what I wanted either. Okay, let's put that there. Okay, so, oh, I need this here. That's right. I forgot how I did it. I haven't done this. I haven't done this in a week, so you know. All right, put us up here. There we go. All right, final UFC 250 salaries. This is UFC 250. How much do you think they made? All right, here you go. Let's talk about Amanda Nunes. Now, apparently she is a pretty hot ticket right now. She is like the biggest thing everybody's waiting for. Everybody's wanting to see her. And I'll tell you what, she looks pretty tough in the commercial that I saw. I wouldn't want to get her mad at me. So,
anybody that fights, you wouldn't want to get mad at you.
Right. Well, that's true too. Except for Balls Mahoney.
Well,
that's
yeah.
a whole other thing. All right. So, how much do you think she made? Considering it's showing right on the screen.
Oh, that's what that means? Wow, $450,000?
According to this, she made, I think that's hers. It says she's guaranteed $350,000, and she gets another $100,000 if she beats her opponent.
Wow.
So she got $450,000. That's from one fight. $500,000 for one fight.
Well, remember, we talked about this Sunday night for the pay-per-view, too. Remember, I had asked you if they were still going to get, you know, what the WWE guys get, because they were doing the pay-per-view at the Performance Center, and there was really no audience.
That's true. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Well, I don't know when this played out, but I'm sure it was during the Corona thing. She's already been a top earner, earning a guaranteed $350,000. She added another 100 to her bottom line with a dominant decision over Felicia Spencer. Now, how much do you think Felicia got?
Well, if she got $450,000,
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Let's see. You said she won, right?
Yes.
Then the other girl probably got $250,000.
A guaranteed $125,000 for her loss.
Wow.
Now, I mean, think about it though. If like Hogan was in a match with anyone else, Hogan's going to get a guarantee that's higher than everybody else.
Right.
Because of Hogan or The Rock or whoever it is. So her final salary, had she won the match, she still wouldn't have got as much as Nunes.
Wow.
If she won the match, she probably would have gotten $200,000 versus Nunes' $350,000. That's a pretty good deal. Now let's talk about Cody Brandt. Maximized his earnings, taking home $260,000 for a highlight reel knockout of Rafael Asuncion, who took home. How much do you think? Okay, so Cody made $260,000. How much do you think that Rafael made as a loser?
$130,000.
$79,000. So he didn't even make as much as Felicia did for losing.
Wow.
The loser of that match didn't make as much as the loser of the other match. So here's the other. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just to let you know, it's just interesting how these people, how much money there is to make, but you really got to get to be top of the game to get to be that. Right. So Cody made $130,000 plus $130,000 for winning against Rafael. Aljamain Sterling got $76,000 plus $76,000 for the win, so we got $152,000 against Corey Sandhagen, who got $80,000 for losing. So originally they were a little closer in what, like Corey was guaranteed $80,000, Aljamain was guaranteed $76,000, but he won, so he got that big bonus. So that's a little closer in numbers than the Nunes, guaranteed $250 or $350 or whatever. So The rest of these, they're really close to each other. Neil Magny, 79,000 guaranteed, plus 79,000 to win. So we got 158,000, and Rocco got 48,000 for the loss.
Wow.
I'd do 48,000 for someone to beat up on me a little bit. Well, maybe not, because my medical bills may be more than that.
Yeah.
Alex Caceres. Now, I don't know any of these people. I haven't watched any UFC in a while. But I did watch Brock Lesnar in his last match, which was a couple weeks ago. He actually lost the match.
Wow.
We think of him as this giant monster, but there are giant monsters that can beat him. So it's funny because you think about it, you look at him and he's just so thick and so big and can move so bad. Good. And then you don't realize there are other guys out there that can do that too, because you never see those other guys, and you always see them in a light of winning everything. But anyway, I'm not going to go through all these, but here's the lowest one. Herbert Burns against Evan Dunham. Dunham.com.
Oh, jeez.
How much did Herbert Burns get for the win? Now, I don't know these guys any better than you do, and I wouldn't have been able to guess this either, so don't feel bad.
You said that's the lowest,
The
right?
lowest pay of the night.
Probably, what, 15 grand?
You're really close. He got 12,000 plus 12,000 for the win, so he got 24,000.
Wow.
Evan Dunham, who lost, got 60,000. So the one guy who won got less money than the person he beat. I just thought that was
You
interesting.
can't win for losing.
Well, he did. Evan won. Evan did win for losing, and the reason he probably got that money is he went. EvanDunham.com. Yeah, I'm sure that nobody else gets that, but I got that. So, hey, Stephen, how you doing? All right, so I just kind of think that's interesting, just to give you an idea what kind of money you can make. Maybe you should change your profession.
No.
You could be a fighter. I've seen you fight.
Pissed me off enough, yeah.
That's right. I've seen you fight. All right, well, now we know if we want to take another living, what we can do. Nunez, $450,000. But wonder if she had to fight to get that.
Probably.
I want to know who she beat up to get that. But that just is a lot of bucks. I can't even fathom $450,000 for one night. That's just obscene. So, hey, congratulations. If you can get it, do it. That's my philosophy. So, but I'm just really, I'm thinking, man, that's one night. One more night.
I've heard that song.
Yeah. All right. Next thing.
Oh.
So that was Nunez. Where are we at here? This one here. I'm very happy about this next thing. The Walking Dead season finale for season 10
Puppy dog.
could air next month. So I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the last. What happened was they were going through, and what they do is they start the season up, but they're not done with the shooting of some of the stuff. Well, they got done shooting everything, but they didn't get done editing everything on the last episode. So they got through the whole season, but they couldn't do the last show of that season. So we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the last episode. We're going to see the last episode, hopefully, in July. So whatever is going to happen, if it goes by the comic book, it should end the Whisperer War. And so I am hoping that we will see that. And it's going to probably coincide with Comic-Con, which is next month as well. So that gives me something to look forward to in next month as far as that goes, because I probably won't be leaving the house next month either. What do you want, puppy dog? Where you at? There you are.
He's right here.
This snack break was brought to you by
Bingo.
Have a Dingo. But anyway, so yeah, it's kind of cool that. What's he say?
Nunez is the one who retired Rousey with that 48-second knockout.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that explains why
she beat Ronda pretty bad.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. It was just because I thought Ronda was unstoppable, and wow, that knockout was a knockout.
Brutal.
Yeah, I ought to get back into that, but I can't invest the time to learn who the people are. There's no storylines to worry about, but I mean, there's just so many. I don't think there's anybody that's fighting now that was fighting when I was watching it, because I mean, their life in the business is shortened quite a bit because of the fact that they're there's concussions and stuff that run around, and there's nothing you can do about that. Anyway, The Walking Dead, we've been waiting 2 months to the day for the 10th season finale to arrive, only to set on AMC April 12th. That's when it was supposed to play. And it says here, as of June 12th, of course, they're allowing productions and stuff to start up again. So we'll hopefully see it next month. And I really am looking forward to seeing what they do with it.
Let's hope that things continue on the path that it's going, for that to happen, instead of, looking forward to that and then everything changed like it did before.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. To me, it's kind of interesting because The Walking Dead originally was comic books,
right?
And they brought them to life on the screen. They haven't taken the same path as the comic books in a lot of senses, and the comic books end probably what would end in the next season. However, they, for instance, Rick is still around in the comic books. I believe some of the people that died didn't die yet, and some of the people that died
so it's not in sync with it,
right? So, like for instance, Rick's son is still alive in the comic books, but here he's dead. He died he died 2 seasons ago. Okay. Well, I mean, that's good though, because you can't predict what's going to happen. It's going to be you think, oh, in the comic books he did this. He's not there to do this now. So I like that they're actually changing it up so that this is still interesting to people that do both. Now, I don't read the comic books because that means reading, and that's something that.
Well, you and reading it just doesn't happen.
I read manuals.
When you have to, you look at pictures.
I do read manuals, and I do look at pictures when I have to. I mean, I fixed that amp for the band.
Hot puppy.
Anyway, so I'm looking forward to this. This is kind of what, if you're a Walking Dead fan, you want the end. You got to have the end of that. And it's going to be interesting because the character that is the big bad guy, well, the 2 big bad guys, if you were watching it, Alpha was the main antagonist this season, and she was killed by Negan, who was the main antagonist for the previous seasons, but now he's a good guy. He's a face. He turned face this season. And yet Maggie's coming back, and she's been gone for almost the whole, well, I guess a season and a half. Her husband was killed by Negan, and she's not going to be happy when she gets back. I know that. So, I know it's stuff that you could care less about because you're not following, but if you were following, you would be excited.
Hey, I tried.
You only saw a couple, you saw 1 or 2 episodes.
2.
I actually am probably going to rewatch a lot of that because I kind of, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But I'll probably start watching it from the first season again because there's a lot of things that I really like that show. Yeah, you do too. I know. And I would make sure that you saw everything. So, no one can see the dog that's growling at my feet. I know you want more treats. I'm not going to give you more treats unless... What? There we go. He's such a pesty dog.
Well, he knows how to get what he wants. He's got you trained.
Wow. Hey, look at this. 8 celebrities who treat waiters like trash.
Wow, you're a celebrity.
No. 8 celebrities who treat waiters like trash. So they treat me good. I treat their waiters good.
They treat their waiters like you.
Anyway, so she's coming back, and actually the main they killed Alpha, which was a female antagonist, and Beta is the mean guy that is. He went crazy when he found out that she was killed, and now he's setting all these zombies on this group of people. So, you know, it's kind of interesting to see where it leads, but I'm very happy about the fact that we're going to finally find out. I mean, I realize that, I hear there's a lot of deaths going to happen of characters, main characters and stuff. So I'm interested. Now, this next thing is interesting because the Black Lives Matter movement. HBO is going, they originally pulled Gone with the Wind.
Ooh.
They pulled it because of the slavery involved in Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
And a lot of people, they originally were going to redo it and cut out anything dealing with slavery. Now, I can't imagine Gone with the Wind without the whole thing, because I've never seen it without the whole thing. So you'll have these wealthy people, but they don't, you know, you can't tell, you can't say they are selling cotton, or can you? I mean, anyway, they determined that they were not going to put the Gone with the Wind, was going to be pulled from HBO Max. So, mainly because of the slavery thing. Well, now, they've decided to bring it back. They have now a new introduction to Gone with the Wind, and it's going to be by a black scholar named Jacqueline Stewart. So they're going to bring out, it actually said that, now this is really strange, and yet it's very true. Gone with the Wind had the first black person to win an Oscar. Now, you think, okay, that's pretty cool, right? Well, not really. I'll tell you why. She won this Oscar, and she was not allowed in the theater.
Ooh.
To receive her Oscar.
That's just not right.
No, not only that, but she was then brought out to get her Oscar onto the stage, and she was given a script she had to read. She couldn't even accept her thing by herself. She had to actually read the script. And then after she was done, they shipped her out. She couldn't even stay for the Oscar that she won because of the times. Now, keep in mind, you're talking about 1939. But I understand why black people are angry about this.
Right. You know, we just all need to get along.
Well,
nobody's better than anybody else.
No, but I understand why they are angry at this. And I understand why they want this to be pulled. I do understand that. When I heard that McDaniel was, her name was McDaniel, when I heard that she was not even allowed to get her award, like, why even bother to give her an award if you're not going to, if you're not going to let her receive the award like everybody else? I just found that unbelievable that people would let her even in the movie and give her an award only to not allow her to receive it like everybody else. to me, that's just. I mean, I understand it. You know, it says these racist depictions were wrong. I wonder if I should play this. I think I'll play this. I don't know if they actually say this stuff or not. If they don't, I'll say it.
It's announced it is temporarily removing the highly controversial film Gone with the Wind amid worldwide protests against racism and police brutality. For those who haven't seen the film, it is known for its negative depiction of black people and for glorifying slavery.
In an official statement to The Hollywood Reporter, an HBO Max spokesperson says that Gone with the Wind will return to the streaming platform with a discussion of its historical context and an announcement of its depictions.
Now, I do like the idea that they're going to do, that they're going to have, because kids of today, actually even adults of today, who have not seen this movie, would not understand the controversy of this movie.
Right.
And if you're black or not white, let's talk about not white, because that's a weird guitar. If you're not white, it's probably more important that everyone sees why they wanted to pull this movie. Because, you know, basically white people would say, well, just play the movie, it's a movie. But I understand why.
There's a historic
I understand that
thing to it. So.
But people don't want it thrown in their face. And I mean, you're talking about what about when all the Jews got killed? They didn't want to see that. They're not going to want to see that. I mean, that's a poor analogy, but it's kind of like.
The statement continues in part, quote, Gone with the Wind is a product of its time and depicts some of the ethnic and racial prejudices that have unfortunately been commonplace in American society.
Now, it depicts it. It not only depicted it, but the poor girl that won her award was pretty much treated like this was still going on.
These racist depictions were wrong then, and they're wrong today.
Gone with the Wind stars Clark Gable, Vivian Leigh, and Hattie McDaniel.
Hattie McDaniel is
black
her
person to
lead.
win an Academy Award. At the time, she was seated way in the back of the theater.
No, that's
During
not
her
true. She
acceptance
was
speech,
not
she
seated
famously
way in the
said,
back of the theater. From what I understand, she wasn't allowed in the theater. Actually, Queen Latifah was talking about this, where she was not even allowed, and then she was shuttled in to make the speech, and given the speech. She wasn't allowed to make her own speech. So...
I am always accredited to my race. She then left the award ceremony. It's a really lovely speech on YouTube if you want to go check it out for yourself.
Yeah, the lovely speech was written by somebody else. It was wrong on every possible thing. So it's just sad.
The announcement comes after Paramount Network canceled their long-running reality show, Cops.
And you talked about this last week, or you showed me this last week, and I didn't. Talks about the Paramount Network canceled Cops because of all the cops that have been in trouble. I mean, I just can't understand. When you take that oath to serve and protect, it's for everybody. To serve and protect. You don't... Hey, Debbie, I didn't mean to ignore you. It doesn't mean to, you know...
You can't pick and choose.
Yes. That's
you
right.
know...
If you're going to be a jerk to everybody.
I mean, it's one of those that you're trained to respond no matter what the situation.
Well, some of the responses, though, I'm going to talk about that later, too.
Also, due to the protests.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I feel like we're going to see more of this moving forward, and I like that they removed it, and they're also going to put some context into it and denounce a lot of the depictions, so I think it's a really good move.
Yeah, and it's a...
Yeah, I'm not going to play this whole thing, but the whole point is that they are going to redo this. And I don't have a problem with them bringing it back on with the lady at the beginning talking about this. And by the way, the lady that's giving the speech at the beginning is black. So you're not going to have some white person up there talking about black rights and talking about... It's going to be done by a person of color.
Right.
I'm all right with that. I'm very all right with that. So anyway, just wanted to bring that up because most of us don't really care about a movie that old, such as me, because I like new movies. And fortunately, most of the new movies don't have that kind of issue. But, I mean, that was a very important movie in a lot of ways, because that was groundbreaking in a lot of the things that they did with that movie. But, you know, so in the sense of trying to make it current for the time. Anyway. All right, so we're done with that. And then, what do we got next? Okay. Stop it. I know you're there. He acts like I never feed him. Jeez.
Hi, puppy.
I gave him some ribs and everything. Because he's just that kind of dog.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Like I said, he's got you trained.
So this was Major League Baseball rejects latest proposal, tells MLB MLBPA rejects the latest proposal, tells the MLB to schedule 2020 season, tell us when and where. Here are 6 things you need to know with the Players Association seemingly done negotiating. I don't know how they're going to fit all their games in, and if they're going to have people in the audience. I mean, all this stuff is really up in the air.
I remember them saying that where they used to have the separate divisions, they're actually going to modify that, have a, like just a last minute kind of schedule, not as strict as what it was before, not as planned out and everything. So it's going to be one of those that you just fly by the seat of your pants. Hi! Well, hello.
He likes baseball.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah. He likes football, too. He carries those footballs around like, as long as they squeak, he likes football. Anyway.
He shouldn't destroy them.
Yeah. I've never seen a dog so into destruction of noise.
Well, tell him.
Creating things.
Tell him.
Okay, May 26th. It says here's a recap of the proposals. May 26th, 82 games with sliding salary scale, roughly 33% of the full season salary. June 8th, wait a minute. Oh, these are the proposals. The other one is June 8th, 76 games at 75%. How old is this article? Wait a minute here. Hold on. Well, this is a new article. I don't think I understand. Because the season would have started already. And would have been, and June 8th is passed already. Stop it. Go lay down. Go lay down. If you're not going to put on a headset and talk, I'm not going to talk to you. 72 games at 80%. So these are the 3 choices they had, but I would think that since all 3 of them are passed, it says the June 8th and June 12th proposals are conditional. Postseason would be unable to be completed due to the COVID pandemic. Players would receive an even smaller proportion of their prorated salaries. They proposed 114 game and 89 game seasons with full prorated salary and expanded postseason in 2020 and 2021. But the MLB has indicated but not officially announced it will pay players the full prorated salary, but only 48 to 54 games, or 30 to 33% of their full salary. So, if you're a baseball fan, that's important to you. According to this, 6 things you need to know. It says MLPA has requested financial information last month. The MLPA requested documents supporting the MLB's financial claims, and those requests were only partially met. The union believes the MLB has not proven its financial situation is as dire as the league has claimed, and they're unwilling to accept another round of pay reductions without evidence. As private businesses, MLB do not open their books. So if they want the money, they got to open their books. The clock's ticking. Number 2. Once the season is scheduled, either because Manfred does not unilaterally or 2 sides come to an agreement, teams will need about 10 days to prepare for the training camp sites. When does I thought that baseball started in the spring.
It does.
Okay, we're way off here.
Yes, because of the coronavirus, we couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Hey, Paul. According to this, it'll say teams will need about 10 days to prepare for the training camps. An abbreviated 3-week training camp would follow, MLB wants a regular season to end no later than September 27th to ensure that the postseason does not extend into November. Based on that, spring training would have to begin no later than mid-July for a 50-game season. Number 3, the expanded postseason is on the line. The MLBPA must approve an expanded season, and it's unlikely they would do so. Manfred scheduled the season unilaterally, so the two sides must resolve various safety matters. So, number 4, MLBPA could file a grievance. Since Manfred unilaterally scheduled the season, it's unlikely the MLBPA would file a grievance alleging MLB would not negotiate in good faith. I mean, everyone's affected by this thing, and there's no... I really don't think that... I mean, they may be in a lot worse shape than I think, but it seems to me that Major League Baseball is not going anywhere, and none of those teams are going bankrupt. Not like businesses are going bankrupt. So, hey, Carlton is in there.
Hi, Carlton.
Chat room. So, it says here, meanwhile, MLB has a new television deal. Earlier on Saturday, it was reported MLB is finalizing a... Now, how much do you think? For a whole season of baseball.
$35 million.
A $1 billion broadcasting deal with Turner Sports. The deal will begin in 2022 and will not give teams an immediate cash influx, but it's guaranteed future revenue, which will help clubs borrow money to cover short-term expenses. It says here, MLB currently receives $350 million a year from Turner. So it's going from $350 million to a $1 billion broadcasting deal. That's triple what they're paying now. I mean, that's a lot. That's a big jump. Don't you wish you had triple your salary next year?
Yeah.
And then it says another labor fight is looming while in the 2020s. While getting the 2020 season started is a top priority. The current collective bargaining expires December 2021. And the two sides have spent the next 18 months or so negotiating a new agreement. Work stoppage is not guaranteed, but it certainly seems more likely than any point since 1995. So, I don't really follow baseball, but sounds like they got a lot of things on their plate right now. But they're not the only ones, because guess what? What's another sport?
Football.
Well, yes, and the Lakers
Yeah, basketball.
say there's still time to figure things out ahead of restart. Think about how all these sports, I mean, the only one that seems to be okay with the corona thing is race car, NASCAR.
Woohoo!
I mean, they don't really rely on, I mean, when you're driving your car, you're not listening to the fans cheering or booing.
No, that's true.
Because there's very little things that I would imagine make the people's cars go faster. I mean, I'm sure that if you say boo, your car's not going to go slower. So, but whereas, basketball relies on an audience, baseball relies on an audience, football relies on an audience.
All sports.
Just about, yeah. Wrestling relies on
Definitely,
an audience. But it's just interesting to see that, But it says here, after Friday's NBA group call revealed how adamant a fraction of the league is against resuming the season in Orlando, Florida, next month, members of the Los Angeles Lakers insist that ample time remains to get their team on the same page. I mean, just think about this. 2 months ago, we were told 2 weeks. And it's been 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
And climbing, because who knows when this is all going to really start being, it may never go away. And especially if idiots continue to go out without their masks and stuff. Because you showed me an article, was that today? What's that article?
Yeah.
That showed that WWE. Was that WWE?
Yeah, that was, just recently that happened. I think I sent it to you.
Did you? Oh, okay, let's see. Did you? We'll send it to here. Let's see if we got something from me. There it is. Cancels TV tapings. Yeah, so WWE cancels TV tapings after a wrestler tests positive for a corona. Now, this is the thing. People just don't seem to understand. It only takes one person to infect everybody.
Just a carrier.
Yeah, and so here we have, we were finally starting to get some sense of normality, and somebody screws it up by being part of the problem, not part of the answer. So here we go again. It's just.
Well, I have the latest numbers, like for the coronavirus in Pennsylvania as of this morning.
Okay. And
they're saying that there's almost 80,000 cases.
Yeah.
And then there's 6,276 deaths as of this morning that have been tied to this. 33 of those were just reported today.
Oh.
I mean, so it's out there, and I mean, I feel bad for the people that are caring for these patients.
Sure.
Because they have to be away from their families. Yeah. It's just awful.
It's crazy. I leave home very, very few times because I am afraid of. I mean, I think I had it in January, but if I did have it in January, I definitely don't want to get it again. That was so miserable. It was when we were off anyway, and it took me a while to get back on my feet because I just wanted to die. I mean, I really did want to die. That's the first time in my life I wanted to die because it just was so miserable.
Well, I know I've been watching, to make sure that the places that I do go are not, that haven't been closed. Like, I saw one thing here a couple weeks ago where there was a Sheetz that they closed the Sheetz. And I'm like, okay, that's not one that I frequent, but I keep an eye out because if that is, then I know that I'll stay away from it. And even this morning, I was telling you before we went on the air, I went into Sheetz, and not counting the employees that were there was only like myself and maybe one other person that had masks on, and they're just, all these customers are walking in and out like they don't care. And
did they have their hands up in the air?
Yeah.
Just don't care.
And it's, it's like I want to say something, but it just starts a bunch of bullshit because you hear different things.
Right.
I saw an article where it says you shouldn't be wearing the mask all the time because you're breathing that back in, but yet, look at the people, look at the employees of Walmart and Sheetz that have to wear it constantly. Granted, I know I have trouble wearing mine for 8 straight hours. Thankfully, I don't have to.
Right.
But if I did, being claustrophobic, yes, I would have a problem.
Right.
You just have to get over it and, slip into the restroom. Take it off for, just a few minutes for a break. Put it back on and go do what you have to do.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, it was only a matter of time for this to happen to somewhere like this. And hopefully they'll get back on track. But
well, this other article that I have here that they were saying about Houston could see its second round of it.
They said the 3 places were Houston, Florida, and New Mexico were the 3 that had
I believe
all
it.
new stuff. And those are, did I say? I think it's New Mexico. They all decided they weren't going to wear masks, and all of a sudden, boom, we had these record high stuff.
It only takes one person to be a carrier, and
yeah.
Because if, let's say, I was out among somebody, they passed it to me, I didn't know it, I could carry it to you.
Right.
I'd feel awful if I knew that was the case.
Yeah, because I'd kill you.
Well, yeah.
I do not want to get it again,
Well,
If I
I
end up getting it
understand
again,
that.
I would kill you, and then I'd let myself die from this because I don't think I'd want to fight it again. Anyway, so while I'm on WWE, Edge and Orton had the greatest match. I wouldn't say it was the greatest match. It was a good match, but it was not the greatest. But he pulled his Edge pulled his tricep on his greatest match. His third match back or whatever it was.
I thought it was his first match back.
No, it wasn't his first, because he beat up. He had a hardcore. It might have been his second match. He had a hardcore match with Orton, and that pretty much, was he won the match against Orton on that. So this was, but here he ends up ripping his tricep, and I kept looking for where he did it because it was a tape match. I knew he ripped his tricep. I don't even know where he ripped it because he just kept going. I will give him thumbs up for that because I just wouldn't even. I can't imagine the amount of pain he was in, unless the adrenaline was so, was going so much that he he was able to keep going.
And think about it. I mean, that does happen. You don't
Happened with me.
Yeah.
With my stuff too. I kept going after I pulled my shoulder out.
when you broke your wrist.
Well, yeah, that too. So the coronavirus stats look like they're right here. I don't know if these are real or not, but let's see, hey, we moved down on the list though. We are no longer deaths per million. Oh, okay, it's deaths per million. The highest one. What country do you think it is?
China.
Wrong.
Really?
Yeah, Belgium.
Wow.
845.82 deaths per million. UK is we dropped down on that list. That's really good. I don't know if that's real. Maybe that's not real. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's a trip. If people would just be a little smarter about things, I mean, I don't know. That may not make any difference because this virus has gotten the best of all of us. So, who'd have thought? I never thought in my wildest dreams that we'd be fighting this kind of thing.
I didn't either. I mean, it's just like hit us out of the blue, and yeah.
Do you know the Washington Monument gets hit by lightning a lot?
No, I didn't.
It says, watch lightning strike the Washington Monument, then watch it again. So apparently, being the tallest thing in Washington, it's not a big surprise, but it's kind of interesting because you never really think about that. I would like to see that live. I would like to see that, because that's got to be...
I would love to go back to see the Washington Monument. I just would not want it to see hit by lightning.
Anyway, it says dramatic rooftop footage shows lightning strike the 550-foot tall Washington Monument. And it says here it causes a huge amount of damage every year, mostly to property much closer to the ground. The marble Washington Monument is topped with a set of lightning rods on the top. So, anyway, here is it. Can I make that bigger? I guess I can make that bigger. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Look at it. Looks like a horror movie where Dr. Frankenstein.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that building since I was a little girl in Girl Scouts. That's why I said I'd love to go back to see the building, just not see it struck by lightning.
Hey, I'd like that for a background. Look at that. That looks good as a background. I think I'll save this. I'm going to have to save this picture. I wonder if I can save that.
Well, where's Jason Static? See if I can get another...
I don't know where he is. I haven't talked to him
He's in Florida.
I didn't know if he was still there or not. I haven't talked to him.
He's still in Florida.
But, yeah. That's amazing. So... I just think that looked like a horror movie.
Hot puppy.
Alright, then we got... Okay, that's that. Hey, don't call him over. He's sleeping.
Oh, I know. I can hear him.
That's our background noise. Let's see. How would you like to see how good a drone would go against a regular pilot?
Let me
You ever
fly in a
wonder?
plane before I answer that.
Well, you don't have to fly in it either way. But the question is, can a real person outfly a drone? Or can the drone outfly the real person?
I don't know.
Because a lot of times, okay, so think about my car, okay? My
Okay.
car going in autopilot, or autopilot.
Right.
It's pretty good, and
Yeah.
it's getting better as the year goes by, as the years go by. But is it better than a human? And I've had discussion before with various people, because some people don't like autopilot. They don't like the idea of not being able to choose what to do when something happens. And in some cases, I understand that. If I'm thinking about the autopilot, cruising along on the highway. Now, on the highway, I think overall, it's better than a human. And the reason for it is this. When you're driving, you can get hypnotized by the road.
Yes.
Okay? The car does not get hypnotized by the road. You can be distracted. The car is not distracted. And if, let's say, for instance...
Well, it can be if it doesn't like exit and entrance ramps.
It's gotten better about that stuff, about the entrance and exit ramps, too. But if I'm driving along and I don't see something in my blind spot, car does. Car sees it.
True.
The car is better on highways because, if you relax yourself, you're driving along, you're starting after an hour or two, you start getting tired and stuff. The car still sees it as it is. And let's say we're both aware. We are aware and the car is aware.
Right.
And something happens in front of you. The car is going to see it before you do.
True.
So it's going to react before you do. That looked like an old brimstone.
It is an old brimstone.
Wow. You can catch the very young brimstone in the documentary Wrestling Now. Oh, okay. The one that, what's his name did?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a pretty young brimstone. Oh, it was released in 2002. Well, how old was... wonder how old that picture is. Anyway, so now we're talking about airplanes. Now, the one thing that I think that humans are better than cars choosing is that I may know a different way to get there. Or I may know, I may decide that the car is going to do basic things, like it's going to get you from point A to point B as safe as it could be.
Right.
But it's not going to know to maybe cross over 2 lanes to go over and then cross back to 1 and then cross. It's not going to do that complex thing.
Well, the other thing is, too, with construction going on, you're going to recognize that before the car will. More than likely, yes.
Not when they get done with it, once they get it to...
But I'm saying
but
current construction
possibly.
going on now.
Yeah. So, anyway, it says here, Air Force will pit an advanced autonomous aircraft against a piloted plane in a challenge set for July 2021. So, next year, about a year from now, they're going to have an airplane go against an autonomous aircraft.
Wow.
I should say. I think that will be interesting because as it gets better and better, as the technology gets better and better, the plane should eventually win. The autonomous plane could possibly win. However, if you're flying, there are things that they may not take an account of, and that is, say, for instance, if you're driving in a car and you want to try to lose somebody, you may go left and then go right real quick. There's all kinds of maneuvers in a plane where you fly up and down and you got so many different ways to go that an autonomous plane may not know that, may not understand that. It will eventually, because all those algorithms will eventually, if it learns like my Tesla, like if the feedback goes back into the system and they release it, it could eventually win. It's kind of like playing chess against a computer. The computer should theoretically win every time, but it doesn't. It doesn't. When it takes on a master, the master will tend to win. So, it's just, I found that interesting that they're looking, and the funny part is the team leader of this project is Steve Rogers. Now, does that name mean anything to you?
No.
Do you know what Captain America's name is?
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is his name. So I find that pretty funny right there. So Steve Rogers. Are you looking it up? I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Steve Rogers.
There you go.
Oh, brother.
How did I know that?
You just know everything.
No, I don't know everything. I know stupid trivia like that. But that was really kind of funny. So, anyway, I'll be curious what happens with that. Could be interesting. Then we say... oh, okay, yeah. Somebody wrote an article. How fast cars would be if they wait a minute, let me say it again. If cars advanced like computers.
Oh.
Here's how fast cars would be if they advanced at the pace of computers. Now, I came from technical sales background.
Right.
So we're talking about that you buy a computer today, it's already old news. If you buy a brand new computer, it's already old news. The reason being, the computer manufacturers refresh their computers every quarter.
Okay.
So, if you buy one today, next quarter, the new model is out. And so they change processors every quarter too. Now, they may not make a lot of changes, but there will be changes every quarter. So if they take a processor that, let's say, for instance, an i7. Okay. That's a good question. i7s have been out for 15 years, give or take. But the i7 that was released in 2000, what year is this?
2020.
Okay, that was out in 2010 versus the i7 that comes out this year, you're going to see a world of difference in the speed because they keep making them smaller and faster and stuff like that. And so they're saying, how fast would cars be if they advanced at the pace of computers?
Okay.
So we're talking now, today, say for today, we talk about the speed of my Tesla. Okay, how fast is that going to be in 5 years if they advanced as fast as computers? I don't know, but I think they'd be darn fast, because if you take a computer that has changed, an example is in 2010 we were using in the band these
i5s.
7s.
Oh, okay.
I believe. No, the one was an i3, but the other one was equal to an i7. It was an AMD chip, but it was equal to an i7. When the AMD died, we went out and bought i5s, because you can't pry that wallet open for anything out of Ken's hand to buy an i7. But that i5 was better than the i7 from just 5 years prior. So that gives you an idea. It's interesting. So, that article there is interesting. Florida bars and restaurants close just a week after reopening.
Yep.
And why is that?
Florida!
I mean, why? Why?
Because that's where the second wave of the coronavirus...
And what were people doing? Not social distancing and not wearing their masks. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really not that difficult. I mean, we got to get used to doing this stuff to get this all right until they get a vaccine of some sort to give us. And I read that I don't know if I put the article in here, that they had a vaccine that, I don't think I did, in the UK, they're treating people with, I guess it's an earlier vaccine for something else or something, and it's actually working pretty well. It's not been approved or anything yet, but so it is. Anyway, okay, the idea of comparing the pace of development of computers to cars has been around a while, and Snopes, which is the company that debunks things that are out there, like Andrea, poor Andrea. Andrea's been out there, and there's a thing out there that if you get a friend request from Andrea, do not accept it because it'll send a virus or something to you, which is false, by the way. Poor Andrea. Can you imagine, like, every time she sends out a friend request, everyone says, nope, I'm not going to do it, because, none of her friends, she's been, but that's been out there for years, and I still get that beware of Andrea, and poor Andrea, because she has no friends. She probably has 10 friends, and every time she tries to get a new friend, that thing comes out. So anyway, what was I talking about? Snopes tracks the idea all the way back to some early internet joke in 1997. The internet joke is, do you know what the internet joke is?
No.
Let me see if I can remember. If cars were like computers,
okay,
I would be driving a $500 Porsche. Well, what it is, again, if you buy a computer today, let's say you buy a high-end computer, spend about $1,200.
Okay.
What's it worth in 5 years?
Probably like $50, if that.
It's maybe a little more than that, but what that theory is, that if you bought a Porsche and it's 5 years old, you should be able to get it for $50 or $100 or $200. But that's what that whole theory is. Of course, it's not really true because you're not going to be able to do that. Just for fun, fully aware, yet kind of stupid, I wanted to crunch the numbers about the specs of cars and computers over 35 years of development and see what happens. This is interesting. For the 1982 side, I picked an Apple II Plus. I had an Apple II Plus, and I think it was pretty expensive. I won it in a drawing. Popular computer of that era introduced us to many joys of virtually dying of dysentery. For the car, I wanted to pick something we have today, so I went with a base-level 4-cylinder Ford Mustang. For the year of our snappy Lord 2017, I'll use the current base-level technology of a computer, a 21.5-inch iMac, and the 4-cylinder base Mustang, the Mustang EcoBoost. So those are what we're comparing so that we can decide whether or not this is true or whatever. I picked 4 specs to measure each. One of the computers I picked RAM, storage capacity, CPU speed, and price. For the car I picked horsepower, fuel economy, and 0 to 60 in seconds and price. So this should be interesting.
Oh boy.
Equating the metrics isn't exactly a perfect by any means, but from what I did, 0 to 60 time and CPU speed are both basically related. RAM, memory, and mileage, because having more RAM tends to make the computer run better.
Right.
Yeah. Storage capacity is like horsepower because knowledge is power, and price, well, that was equal to price. So here's what the results are. Pretty striking. It says computers have developed insanely quick, and if cars developed at that price, if cars developed at that pace, let's look at the chart. All right, let's pull the chart up so people can see it. Well, we're never going to get everything on there, but okay, here's what we got. 1982, you got 48 kilobytes of memory. Really bad. 2017, we got 8 gig, so it's 166,000% more. CPU speed was 1 megahertz way back in 1982, and it's 1.7 gigahertz in in 2017. That's 1,600% faster. Storage capacity, that's the one that's really interesting, was 140 kilobytes, which was really a floppy disk. Okay, it's now they used a terabyte, which is kind of the basic entry. It's 7,508,000%
Wow.
more. And then the price was $1,695 with the drive. I got 2 drives that cost a little bit more than that, which equals $4,353 today. Okay, and today you can buy the new computer for $1,099 or 3.9% less. All right, so that gives you what a computer would be. Let's talk about cars. Okay, so the Ford Mustang 4-cylinder was 22 miles per gallon. Today's Ford Mustang EcoBoost, okay, is 20 miles per gallon. It went the wrong way. It's 0.9% less. The speed, 0 to 60, is 16.2 seconds in the original, but today it's 5.5 seconds, so it's 2.9% faster. The horsepower, 88 horsepower back then, and now it's 310 horsepower, or 3.5% more. The price of that 1982 was $6,789, which is about $17,437 today. That price of that 4-cylinder EcoBoost is $26,195, or 1.5% more. Wow. So, if cars developed at the pace of the computer, a 2017 Ford Mustang EcoBoost would have, get this, instead of 310 horsepower, it would have 660 million horsepower. It would go from 0 to 60 in 0.0034 seconds, which is really fast. That's faster than my car. And get about 3,666 gallons, miles per gallon, and it would cost about $4,471.
If my car got that kind of mileage,
you'd never have to get gas.
No, I would go back and say, I need another calculator. My calculation is wrong.
But if computers developed at the rate of cars, we're going to take it and flip it around. Computers developed at the pace of cars, a 2017 iMac would have, instead of 8 gigs of RAM, it would have 43.2K of memory, which is really, really bad. It'll run at 2.9 megahertz instead of 1.6 gigahertz. And it would store 490K of data, which is less than a small floppy. The big floppy, it would be the size of a big, 2 big floppies, I think it is, and would cost you, instead of costing you $1,099, it would cost you $6,529. So there you go. It's a stupid comparison, but it's interesting.
Unbelievable.
Hey, who knows? I just found that interesting. I thought it was funny, and because being in technology all that time, hi Fran. Being in technology all my life, I just heard that saying many times about Porsches being really cheap to buy. Yeah, here's something that's interesting. So, fraudulent masks, fake charities. 2020 is the perfect storm for online scams. Now, I talk about scams all the time. There's a scam for everything out there. I mean, right now, because of the coronavirus, the scammers have not missed a step. They're out there doing things.
Yep.
The one I heard today, the one IRS scam, you get a phone call that you have to call the IRS back, and they're suspending your Social Security number because of a car that they found in Texas. It's always Texas. That was found with blood inside of it, and it has the car's registered to your name because someone stole your identity, and there's cocaine in the car, and they're trying to get you to.
That sounds like the one that you and Pam were involved with.
It does sound like that, but what they're doing is they're trying to make you feel like the government's coming after you. But we believe, as the government, we believe that you may not be guilty. So we're worried about the theft of your identity. So we want you to move your money out of your account while we send you a new Social Security number. Okay, first off, that doesn't happen. They don't suspend your Social Security number. They don't make you get a new, move your accounts. Because when you move your accounts, you're not moving it even to Pennsylvania. You're moving it to often China, or you might end it to sending it to India, because they tell you those are secure lockers. And once they take your money, you're not going to see it again. So just for your information. It says here, worldwide pandemic, mass unemployment, and national protests over racial injustice. There are many issues occupying our collective attention. So you need to know some of these scammers are out there trying to take your money and take your stuff. Hi, Nietzsche. So it says here, the motive for scammers, for the most part, is financial gain. And those scammers think that everyone in the United States is very wealthy. They really will take your grandmother's money. Mm-hmm. They'll take every last dime of your grandmother's money, or your money. But they target older people. They target people that are in their 70s, 80s, probably 60s, but probably, because those are the people that are less computer literate and are probably willing to believe things. So really, if you have grandparents with computers, kind of keep an eye on them and become smart about what is going on out there, because they are trying to scam you. There are a lot of scammers out there. I'm surprised. I watch this Twitch feed almost every day, and if you want to check this guy out, it's Kit Boga, Kitboga. Go to YouTube and you can check out some of his videos. He'll explain how these scams work. And it's really actually kind of ludicrous that they get away with this stuff, but people are believing that they're going to be arrested. They tell you, you can't tell anybody while our investigation is going on. So do not tell your family, do not tell anyone. We will get you clean and out of trouble and stuff, but that's not what they do. Okay, so we have it says here, we have the COVID disaster combined with economic disaster combined with protests. That's perfect. Everybody's distracted. Everybody's thinking about what is going on in the world, and they aren't really looking at what is really going on. Stimulus payment scams. That's a big scam now. You get an email from a recipient you don't know, and you click on it, and that grants access to everything from your bank account to Social Security number. It's called phishing. And if you don't know what phishing is, that's what it is. They send out this thing, and they are able to access your accounts through this email. It says one of the newest phishing tactics preys upon people seeking updates on their stimulus checks. But the IRS will never contact you by mail, phone, text, or social media. Anyone who does this is a scammer fishing for your information. So a lot of these places, they get you to say your Social Security number.
Right.
Would you give me your Social Security number?
The fact that I know you and I trust you, yes.
Oh, you're crazy.
I know.
Would you give anybody else your Social Security number? No, I mean, seriously, that's one of the things. I'm like amazed, because when they get these people on the phone, they'll say, okay, I need your information. And they'll like type out this thing, and in there they just kind of put in the Social Security number, and the people fill it out. They just are idiots. You don't give
a lot
your
of them now only ask for the last 4 digits.
Well, that's okay. You can give them the last 4, but these people fill out the whole thing. They're nuts.
Yeah, I just...
All right, so it says so anyone who does that, they got to be careful. If you fall for a phishing scam, hackers can easily hijack your usernames, passwords. Get yourself a secure password manager like LastPass Premium. I had, we talked about this before. Comcast had a breach.
Yes.
And they got a couple of my emails. And I get these nasty emails probably once every 2 weeks from these guys that have my password. They don't have my password. They have my old password that I had back in 2000. And I get it from the 2 different accounts of mine. And they threaten you that if you don't send them money, they have this video of me doing dirty things, watching pornos and stuff like that. And the reason I know it's fake, it says I have really good interesting pornos I watch. I really watch boring pornos. I mean, really, I know it's basically straight porn. There's nothing really special about it. That's why I know he's lying. But it's I think I'm up to 6 emails, 3 each account.
Wow.
And they're all different emails every time. They say they'll destroy the footage. Now, even if someone did happen to get some footage of me doing the nasty, I still wouldn't pay them because right now I've had 3 from each account that says they would destroy it. What would stop them from trying again in a couple months, saying, I want another $3,000? And, oh, by the way, some are more expensive than others. The one was up to $3,000. The one, it just came down to $2,000, and it was at $1,000. So they're trying all kinds of stuff.
It's just crazy.
Fake charity scams. They're all over the place. You can get fake charity scams. These scammers come out with a fake charity request, and the avenues that these can come through are obviously email or smishing. They call it SMM phishing. This means you'll get a text message from a number claiming to be a charity and asking you to donate online. The FTC says telltale signs of a charity scam include sense of urgency, vague claims about your money, how your money will be used, and even a message thanking you for a donation you never made. So you got to be careful. I just think that the scammers just... I couldn't do that to someone. I couldn't... I mean, I don't know. Fraudulent sites claiming to sell PPE. You know what PPE is, right?
Yes.
What's PPE?
Personal protective equipment.
Okay. They're selling masks, basically, that they don't have. Like, for instance, that guy that I'm thinking that that I was trying to get masks from, and it was 2 months and I didn't get any masks. I got a refund from him eventually.
Wow.
I don't know that he was a scammer, but he could have been. You have to be really careful on any link you do, and it says here, fraudulent websites. Although that wasn't a fraudulent website, that was Walmart, so it probably wasn't a scam.
Well, that's why the masks that I bought, I only bought 3.
Yeah.
Everything else was given to me. I bought it from somebody that I knew at work.
Then income tax identity theft. This is a big one. This scam is tricky because you've never been baited. In case, in fact, you don't know someone's used your identity to file fraudulent tax return until you try to file your own. And the tax deadline is extended to July 15th. Ooh, it is. I got to get going on that. Mm-hmm. There's more of a chance you'll fall for this one if you haven't filed yet. Here's how it goes down. Scammers file a false return with your identifying information and a lot of fake deductions in hopes of collecting big fat refund. Apparently it happens a lot. IRS has identified 135 million in fraudulent returns in the first 2 months of 2020 alone. Did you realize that? That's a lot of 135 million fraudulent returns. Of course, in an attempt income tax identity theft, a scammer needs your social security number along with other crucial information. And keep in mind, if you give enough information to file a fake tax return, you'll have enough to commit a full-on identity theft against a victim. So, yeah, you have to think about that. Then there's fake job scams. I haven't heard too many of those. Many of those losing their jobs are looking for new ways to create income, so they're more vulnerable to employment scams, which come in the form of everything from emails to banner ads. Often, people don't realize if they respond to a certain work-at-home type job they could be opening themselves up to losing money or having your identity stolen.
Yep.
Here are some telltale signs of a fake job offer, according to the FTC. It promises you a job right off the bat, guarantees you will make money, and often says you can work at home. If a potential employer makes you a money mule, as they put it, they'll ask you to use your own credit card to cover upfront costs. It's likely a scam. Plenty of job ads are real, but of course a good ad blocker will filter you out. So this is just things to think of. I mean, these scams, they get pretty complex. A lot of these scams, you get a call saying Amazon. Actually, I got a couple emails like this too. Will say, I got this. Wait a minute, I got this. I don't know if I kept it or not. If I kept this email from Amazon or not. Let me see here. I think it said something like, I may have deleted it because I tried not to keep those, but I really think that it's interesting because a lot of times it'll say things like, here it is. This is from supposedly from Amazon.com. Here's what it says. Information, something wrong with your account. We must disable your account for security reasons. And then it'll go on to say, we've placed your account on hold and all pending orders. We took this action. The billing information you provided did not match the information. We detect something wrong with your Amazon account. We have disabled your Amazon account, blah, blah, blah. And it says you have to push this button for account verification.
Right.
So you push that button, and it brings you to what looks like the Amazon screen, but it's not. In fact, if you read in the URL where you put the address in at the top, it does not say Amazon. It might say Amazon dot whatever dot something, but that's not Amazon. And what they do is they have you log on. What they're doing is they're capturing your logon information.
Right.
They take that, they can get on your account, they can change your password so you can't get on, and they can start placing orders on your credit card.
Wow.
Well, that's one scam. Then there's also the scam where they say several orders were placed going out to, say, okay, like I live in Pennsylvania, it'll say your order to Florida and Texas is going out today. Well, you're looking at it and you're saying, I didn't order it. So you call them up. You call the number that's on the email, and they'll answer it Amazon billing or Amazon something. And they'll pretend to be Amazon. Now the scam gets interesting. Okay, so these orders that went out, do you want to cancel them, or should we just ship them? Well, no one's going to say just ship them. I mean, because usually it's $2,000, $3,000, or maybe it's only $500, or maybe it's $300. But let's say it's $300. So they'll say, well, that order is for $300. Do you want to cancel it or just ship it? And you say, well, I didn't order that. Okay, well, we'll get you a cancellation form. They'll talk you into downloading a remote access program like Anywhere, PC Anywhere, or something like that. You'll download it, and they'll sign on to your PC Anywhere because you give them the information, and they'll have you get into your account because they're going to refund you your money. Okay, so instead of refunding you the money, what they do is they look at your checking account and and your savings account. Let's say you have $500 in your savings account, and let's say you have $100 in your checking account. What they do is when they distract you by making you fill out a form, which is usually a text message that they paste information into, like name, address, and all that stuff, that they expect you to fill out that thing. Now, while that's going on, they're on your account, and they're taking money out of your savings account. Let's say they take, like I said, you had $300, $400. You'll take $200 out of your savings and put it in your checking account. So far, you haven't lost any money. It's all the same. It's just moving. But you don't know that because you're looking at, you had $100 in there before. Now you have $300 or whatever. And then they say, okay, we'll send you your replacement. Now, what they do is they go in and they change the HTML on your screen, because you can do that. Even if they're in your checking account, they can change the HTML. Did you ever use the computer and all of a sudden a window pops over here and it's got all kinds of stuff you can't understand. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
That's HTML. You can actually change things over here that will affect what you see. That's what they're doing. They're changing it. So now it looks like they gave you money because they changed that HTML. And so it looks like, oh, you gave me the money. That's cool. And then but you don't just get the money. So here's where the big, okay, so you say, well, okay, so far they didn't do anything. They didn't lose any money because they just moved one to the other. Here's what they do. So instead of switching, let's use the number $300. Instead of moving $300 from the checking to the savings, they move $300. They do move $300 from the checking to the savings, but what they do is they edit the HTML to say that they moved $3,000 or some other number.
Right.
Maybe they'll say they'll move $600. Or they'll say that they'll market it to say, oh no, we sent you too much money. We were supposed to send you $300. We sent you $600. You owe us $300. Now there's where the catch is, because now you got to send them money.
Yep.
And they ask you to go out and get gift cards so that it's not traceable. And they talk you into going out. Now, if they can't talk you into going out, the next thing they'll do is they'll say, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to call the cops and have them come and get you because you stole money from us. Because we made a mistake, we sent you too much money, you got to send that money back. You didn't get too much money, and if you refresh the page, it'll go back to the regular thing. And so, but people aren't going to think of that because they're thinking, well, wait a minute, oh, they accidentally sent me money? Okay, I'm going to try to work with them. Most of the time, people want to work with them because nobody's trying to steal things. And they'll try to talk you into getting gift cards, either Google Play cards or Walmart cards or, any number of different things. But then they expect you to give them the codes on the back of the cards. Guess what? You can't, once you find out that you got ripped off, you can't get it back. And if you wire transfer it, you can't get it back.
Right.
But if you wire transfer it, you'll have their account information, and they can be gone after at least. Anyway,
I know, like with my checking account, I have alerts set up that anything over a certain amount, I get an alert on my phone that says this.
Right.
And I have my checking account alerts are the amount is different than on the account I have with Ashley.
Okay. Well.
So when she uses her card and it's over, because I have her set very low.
Right.
And so I'm getting alerts on her account all the time, and I just go to double check, just to make sure it doesn't seem out of the normal for her.
Well, you got to be careful because these scammers are after your money. And like I said, it's just one, there's just so many scams of so many different types.
If you're really paying attention, like me, I am so paranoid of something like that happening. I'm constantly watching my accounts, and like every day I balance my checkbook to make sure it's right, and nothing like that happens.
Well,
I have to, because I've had stuff like this happen before.
Well, this is stuff that you really have to be aware of, and if you didn't know what they did, you may fall for the things that they do. It's really scary when I see the fact, and especially, like I said, the elderly, they're taking their money. They don't care if it's $20 or if it's $100,000.
Right.
They're going to try to take all your money, and they don't leave anything for you. Because like with that IRS scam where they found your car in Texas, it's always Texas. It's if you read the scripts that they give these people, a lot of times they're people from India, and you can tell by their accent too. But all they are doing is reading a script, and it's always the same. It's always a Ford, and it's always in Texas, and it's always the things are always the same. And you can tell when they're reading the script. So I would tell you, go to YouTube, look up Kitboga, Kitboga, and watch one of his videos, and you'll be just amazed at the the craziness of these people out there trying. That's what he does for a living. He sits there and he calls up scammers as somebody else, as different voices and stuff, and he wastes their time and he tries to get their checking account information for wire transfers, and he gets them shut down. But it's nuts. These people, they don't care about anything but them.
Yep.
And I'm very saddened by that whole thing.
Well, I didn't tell you this. I had a credit card. I've been trying to better my financial position. I had one credit card that I got that, because I constantly look at it, I saw there were 2 charges on there that I did not make. So I contacted the credit card company right away, and I said, I didn't make these. And what they did was they canceled the card, they sent me a new one, and then they sent me the form to fill out saying that I dispute these charges. And they were, like, together it was less than $100, but still, I didn't make them.
Sure.
And I could tell I didn't make them because they were not in the state of Pennsylvania.
That helps. That happened to me back in the early internet. My credit card got out there, and back before they were very secure, it's really early, charges were made out of the country. And,
well, it's hard now because, like, some things that you buy on the internet could come from China.
Yeah, but
okay.
I wouldn't buy it. It would show.
Well, that's why I have one card that I use.
Same here. That's
what
I do.
It's just for that.
Yep, that's it. Same with me. So, anyway. All right, so Paul McCartney's in the news.
Wow.
And why is he in the news? Well, he wanted justice for George Floyd's family. And now this is kind of interesting because, I mean, he's got to be in his late 70s, I would think. And says say something is not an option. It's wait a minute.
He's 77.
Say something is not an option in supporting Black Lives Matter.
He's also in the news because his birthday's in 2 days.
I don't think that's why he was in the news. I don't know if I posted it to Facebook or not. Maybe I posted it to Facebook just twice. Let me see. Yep. Okay. So, anyway, says here he posted a statement of support for protesters for racial justice on Friday. We all need to work together to overcome racism in any form, he wrote. We need to learn more, listen more, talk more, and educate ourselves, and above all, take action. So what did he do? McCartney recounted a concert the Beatles were booked to play at Jacksonville's Gator Bowl in 1964. How, when they learned that it will be segregated audience, they refused to play it. So back in 64, they still had segregation, and the Beatles refused to play because they were going to segregate the black people over here, the white people over here, and said, no, we're not going to do it. It says, we never play segregated audiences, and we're not going to start now. I'd sooner lose our appearance money, and the concert ended up being the first non-segregated audience there. And after that, the Beatles incorporated a clause in their contracts guaranteeing audiences would not be segregated. That's very cool and very forward-thinking of them. And it's, you got to think that they did what they could do for audiences and for people. It says Paul McCartney explained the band's stance in 1966 interview. We weren't into prejudice. We're always keen on mixed race audiences. With that being our attitude, shared by all the group, we never wanted to play out South Africa or places where blacks would be separated. It wasn't out of any goody-good thing. We just thought, why should we separate black people from white? That's stupid, isn't it? After 2 years after that, he penned Blackbird, a tribute to the civil rights movement. I feel sick and angry that we're almost 60 years later and the world is in shock of the horrific scenes of the murder of George Floyd at the hands of police racism, along with countless others that came before. And I want justice for George Floyd's family. I want justice for all those who died and suffered, saying nothing is an option. So, yeah, I just really think that I'm not a big Beatles fan, but I respect them tremendously, and you know, I just kind of thought that was a good thing to say, and you know,
there are some celebrities that are out there that are trying to do something right because of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
I want to say it was Barbra Streisand that bought stock for George Floyd's daughter.
wow.
I looked and I thought I had that article here. It was something I was working on. Maybe I do have it. Yeah, here it is. Nope, here it is. Barbra Streisand bought shares of Disney
For her 6-year-old daughter,
6-year-old, yeah.
Wow.
You know, that is just really awesome. Hey, Barbra Streisand looks better now than she did when she was younger. Actor and singer is his latest celebrity to help ensure financial security for the family of Floyd, purchasing stocks for 6-year-old Gianna. And it says here, Gianna, George Floyd's oldest child, is now a Disney shareholder, thanks to Streisand. 6-year-old Gianna posted a photograph of herself on Instagram along with a certificate of Disney shares. And I'll tell you what, you want to pick a stock that's worth some money, that will probably continue to be worth some money, that's a pretty good one to send. So, representatives of Streisand confirmed to The Guardian that she had sent Floyd the shares, as well as videos of 2 television specials, 1965's My Name is Barbara and Color Me Barbara in 1966. I sent Gianna videos where I played a little girl in my first television special and singing kids songs, and my second special is a sequence of lots of baby animals. It says here they declined to say how many shares, which is about $127 a share, and were purchased on Floyd's behalf. But a recent report calculated that shares bought in 2010 would have yielded 370% over the decade. So if you bought shares at in 2010, by now you would have gained 370%. So if you bought one for $1, it'd be worth $370.
Wow.
So just really interesting. But you know, that's something that's really cool that you know, she didn't have to do that. I mean, you know, Barbra Streisand doesn't need to do anything for anybody, but it's really cool that she did.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, of all the people, I would have never even thought of her as, I would have thought of somebody, but I don't, her name wouldn't have come to my mind when I thought of that. But yeah, she went out of her way to make sure that little girl is going to be taken care of. So it's a shame that that little girl has to be taken care of. That you know, her father is gone. I mean, I'm sure given the choice, she would have wanted her father. By the way, her father, all he did, here's what he did. I don't know if you know what he did.
I try not to pay attention to the news, especially lately, because it's just getting too much for me.
It's too much for all of us, but supposedly he had passed a counterfeit $20 bill to the store. That's what caused him his death.
Wow.
You know, I don't know that it was counterfeit, but that's what he was charged with. So, AT&T is willing to sell off its Warner Brothers Interactive Gaming, which is really odd because that would be a lot of money, because Warner Brothers Interactive Gaming is one of the biggest publishers out there. But AT&T apparently wants to offload the Warner Brothers Interactive. It says here it's an exciting time in the video game industry, with both Sony and Microsoft preparing to launch new consoles this year, and Nintendo supposedly working on a new Metroid Prime for the Switch. And it's a good thing about video game industry is it's exciting and synonymous with good. Making video games is hard, and a lot of AAA development involves someone with a lot of money, and giving money to someone else's assumption that they'll create something so popular and successful. So they're basically, so if I was, let's say I made the original game Doom, okay, I would go to a publisher and say, here's my game, and they'd make it. It's kind of like record industry. You make your own music, then you got to go to a publisher, and and that's where the rest of the stuff comes in. But I just can't believe that they actually were getting rid of it. It says apparently AT&T is apparently looking to sell it in hopes of clearing up some of its $200 billion debt. This comes from VentureBeat that says that AT&T is looking to get somewhere between. Okay, how much do you think this publisher's worth? Think high, really high.
95,000.
No, a publisher. High.
3 billion?
Yeah, actually, right in the middle. It says looking to get somewhere between $2 billion and $4 billion, and that the other major publishers like Electronic Arts, Take-Two, Activision are among the people that are bidding on it. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Nobody confirmed that the Warner Brothers Entertainment is up for sale, and none of the other parties have released any information or any statement. But VentureBeat sources have confirmed that the studio is up for sale. So I just think it's just really wild that they would kind of be selling that because they make so much money off that publisher. But I guess if they went out of that debt, they would be able to get out of that debt then. It's funny thinking of AT&T as being, you got AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, all those guys that are just sucking in money, but, a lot of them have been hurt from the last 3 months. Mm-hmm. So, speaking of which, a car rental company, I think I told you this though, let's see if your memory is good, or if maybe I didn't tell you, which one has gone bankrupt?
Hertz.
You got it. Bankrupt by the pandemic. So and think of the
yeah, that hurts a lot.
I mean, but think of how many now. If Hertz is going to go out of business,
that means Enterprise is going to pick it all up.
Or they could be hurt too. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, how many companies can survive 3 months of being out of business? Who's renting cars right now? Nobody's renting cars right now, I think.
Well, I know Enterprise they also have where, like, you can buy a former car, rental car. Like, they'll sell their rental cars.
Yeah, they usually do when they're done with a couple years
right
in the field.
I don't know that Hertz was doing that.
They were doing that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's just a norm. That's a norm for the business. It says here, Hertz filed for bankruptcy last month, and they put up thousands of cars for sale. Inventory search of the Florida-based website on Saturday revealed more than 23,000 cars of various makes, models, and prices. Filed for bankruptcy on May 22nd, and was expected the company battled against the headwinds of pandemic that smashed on the brakes of car rentals. In a rare move, we've seen its stock spike surprisingly after the bankruptcy, and they asked for the bankruptcy judge for an approval to sell up to $1 billion of its high-risk shares. I mean, this is just this is the new norm. Everybody's going out of business. I can't even imagine how the small companies, are going to survive. Because the big companies are having a hard time surviving. So, I don't know. It's kind of scary when you think about how much damage this pandemic has done. 10 Bay Area 24 fitness gyms are closed for good. Mm-hmm. I guess they weren't healthy enough to make it. Who says that the gyms are very healthy? No, I'm sad though, because it's another business. Now, not that I'm big into gyms, because I've only driven by them, but think about you're really exposed to possible things on a gym. But they lost 10 24-hour fitness gyms across the Bay Area. So partially as a result of the economic fallout. I always thought it would be cool to own a gym. I mean, not that I'd want to use it, but I wouldn't mind owning a gym. Because I thought what I would want it to do when I was younger, when Pam was around and we thought she was going to get a big settlement, we thought about buying a big building and make it into a community center. And it would have a gym, but it would also have a stage. We could have weddings and receptions, bands, wrestling events, whatever, a big building, and have all kinds of events there. And it would be really kind of a fun place for kids to go to hang out and stuff. And of course it never happened because we never got a big settlement.
But let's say that would have happened. Okay? Because at the time, you never knew that this coronavirus stuff was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that building would, that you would still be doing that now?
Well,
given
obviously
corona?
Right now, I'd have to wait till the virus, but I'd be so wealthy by now because if we're fantasizing that I did that, we're also fantasizing that I was successful at doing that. And I would be able to help the community in many ways. Like I'd be able to feed the community and take the community to a whole new level. So, Yeah. I wish the beach looked like that.
Yeah, well, it does. It's empty.
It does in Florida.
Well, it's also empty.
Well, the difference between the Florida beaches and the beaches up here, the water up here looks dirty because all the sand and stuff. But if you ever went to Florida, and you haven't, I know.
No.
But if you ever go to Florida, you want to go to the beach. I went to Daytona Beach, and I'm told the beaches all around Florida are really like this. That's what they look like.
I want to go. That's on my bucket list is to go to Florida.
And like Hawaii is like that, where it's really clean.
That's another place.
You can see the bottom of the ocean. It's just really a different place altogether. Anyway, next. This was good.
What about your niche thing?
I'll get there.
Okay.
Thousands march in Hollywood for LGBTQ
XYZ
rights and racial justice. So, the government recently tried to take away the LGBTQ insurance that was given to them. I spoke a lot so far. That gave them rights as insurance rights, and there was a bill out there to cancel that, and they were given it. It was overturned in Congress, I believe. So they still have their rights. So they were among the people that were marching. So thousands march in Hollywood for LGBTQ rights and racial justice. So they unite it in their bond again with each other. So I'm thankful that they didn't take and go a step backwards by taking that away. I was afraid that was going to be a major thing. So it says here, thousands of All Lives Matter demonstrators converged on Hollywood Boulevard in front of the TCL Chinese Theater on Sunday, denouncing racial injustice and supporting LGBTQ rights before marching on West Hollywood as protests continued nationwide. So the march was organized by Black Advisory Board, made up of Black LGBTQ plus leaders and organizations. On the event's website, the board posted a statement announcing a protest in direct response to racial injustice, systematic racism, and all forms of oppression. So, I mean, basically today, the LGBTQ people are running into some of the trials and tribulations that the black people had earlier, not being able to be covered by insurance, discrimination, and all that, because that bill was to be able to was to ensure that you wouldn't lose your job because of being gay or trans or whatever. They wanted to denounce that bill. And if they denounced that bill, you could be fired just for being gay. So I'm really thankful that they overturned that request for the change, because that's just not right. So, okay, now that means I've got all of that stuff all done, and new how Law and Order SVU, that's the one you watch, right? Plans to tackle George Floyd's death and resulting protests. It says here, when it returns to the airwaves, the longest-running primetime drama will tackle head-on events from 2020, from the coronavirus pandemic to protests against the police brutality of George Floyd.
Yay!
The showrunner of SVU appeared on Hollywood Reporter's Top 5 podcast to discuss how the show will handle real-life landscape and how TV shows and cop dramas in particular can do better. During the conversation, they cited the changes he made to SVU writers for season 21. 21 seasons, wow. That's what you're looking at.
The spin-off is gonna debut this fall.
Well, I'm not talking about the spin-off per se. Oh, is that? Maybe I am.
You are.
Oh, is that what SVU is, the spin-off?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, SVU is on now, but the spin-off of SVU is going to be called Law and Order Organized Crime. That's where they're bringing Elliot Stabler back. Organized Crime is going to...
I don't know what Elliot Stabler is.
He's a character on SVU that's been written off. Yes.
Oh. Okay. All right.
So I can't wait.
I have no idea what that means. I put together a new staff.
This is my Walking Dead.
I know. And that's why I'm not criticizing you about it, because, I don't get it. But, I mean, I don't not get it. Pam used to watch that all the time.
Now, see, I can't watch Criminal Intent. I
don't know which one she watched.
I like the original Law and Order. I like Law and Order SVU. And I'm going to get into organized crime, but I just there's just some that I can't. Criminal Intent is one that I couldn't.
Hi, Adam. How you doing? Pam used to watch all of them. I don't know anything about them. I mean, I kind of know.
It's like cop shows.
Well, the one guy, the heavier guy.
Heavier guy?
There was him, her, and this. Well, he was a bigger guy. He wasn't a fat guy. He was just a heavier guy. He spoke slower, and I just didn't like him. Even when he came out and did the movies, I don't remember his name, but I didn't like his acting style. Even when I saw him in the movies, I didn't like his acting style. I didn't have anything against him. You getting the cast up here for me? So I'm supposed to point out and say, it was him! He did it! That's what I'm supposed to do, I guess. I don't know what their names were. I'd have to see his picture. So it was somebody from, I believe, one of the main characters, but...
Because Ice-T is a main character.
No, not him. I don't have... Oh, showed pictures of him. So let's look. Let's go through the main characters. Just touch him. Maybe he'll come up. Not him. Not him. He's an older character. Not him, but I think we're going to get close to him now.
I think I know...
I don't even know if he's still on it or not.
Now, wait a minute. I gotta find it.
Because I don't watch the show. Nope.
Okay.
I don't even know his name. I mean, it's one of the... I believe he's on an older ones. I don't know if he's on now. He may have left it by now. But he was on it for years and years. Nope. Not Connie. It's a guy. You can skip all the girls. If I only knew his name, I could just tell you, and I just I don't have any idea what his name is. But I'm sure he was on that show because she used to watch that because I know those other guys were on the show and because he was on the show too, and I don't know what his name was. Now watch me be able to backpedal here because you're not going to find.
I'm thinking it might have been him. Because he was like
He was on it for a while. Well, let's look up a picture of him. Nope.
Nope. Okay.
I wish I could tell you where maybe it's not that show. Maybe I think it is, but it's not. Nope. Nope.
Now these are getting into some of the other.
He wasn't
ones.
I don't think he was a junior guy because he was on the show all the time, and I just wish that I could tell you who he was. But he was like there was that girl, that guy, and maybe he was replaced by Ice-T. I don't know.
See, because
nope,
he was a district attorney.
Not him.
Yeah.
I wish I knew who it was. He was, but he used to drive me crazy because I didn't like his acting style. I mean, not that I'm an acting genius or anything, but anyway, it says here that I put together new staff and made a conscious effort to bring in new voices, fresh voices, different voices. It was radically different writers from what we had seen. Even the ones I put together years earlier. There's a tendency in becoming, I think we're all becoming more aware of our responsibilities, and you're putting together a writer's team. Didn't he fire somebody last week for something he said on it? I think he was the guy that fired somebody for the new show. And it says here, the new voices of SVU were a start, but that's just a start. I think we've tried hard last year to show class and race affect outcomes in justice and in society. I'm beginning to suspect really hard wasn't enough. This has to be a moment where people make themselves uncomfortable, where people in power have to make themselves uncomfortable. And in addition to the new writers, there's a variety of activists to speak to the writers, and they've been in touch with Color of Change for upcoming season. SVU inherently is from the police officer's point of view, and the characters go on a journey with the survivors of sexual assault they're investigating. Well, the show is but basically he's just promising that he's going to, try to stay true to what's really happening in the world today. So, I mean, it'd be good. I think we're going to have to address this stuff, and the more we address it, hopefully the quicker it'll be in everybody's face. So, Jeopardy! When do you think it's going to run out of episodes?
When Alex Trebek dies.
Well, it's run out of episodes already due to COVID. It says they've learned that the iconic Alex Trebek game show, which halted production nearly 3 months ago due to the coronavirus, will air its last episode Friday, June 12th.
Wow.
So, as of this week, they're all reruns. Trebek didn't step down yet either, did he?
Nope.
He's going to ride it. I'd give him kudos. I mean, he's riding it to the end. It'd be nice if he were to survive his cancer, but
No, I don't think he still keeps going.
It says here in January he told reporters that he has no plans to sign off the long-running quiz. 2 months later, he announced that he had beaten the 1-year survival rate for the disease. The 1-year survival rate of stage 4 pancreatic cancers is 18%. I'm very happy to report that I have reached that marker. My brother had pancreatic cancer in 2008 or 9, and he beat it.
Wow.
But he didn't beat the brain cancer and the lung cancer. So it just spread throughout his body and took his life. But none of us are none of us can beat it. It's going to beat you. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't beat you to death, it's going to beat you in other ways that, you know, your life is just not the same. I mean, I'm keeping an eye on Beth.
Yes.
And I am constantly asking our friend how her mother's doing. I really wish it was something.
I watch the Facebook, and then if I don't see anything in a couple of days, then it's like, okay, what's going on?
I ask all the time because I admire that woman so much that she would take on all those kids on her own, and just I admire her so much. So, all right, Kendall Jenner's Black Lives Matter Pepsi ad makes an inglorious return. It turns out that Kendall Jenner did not end racism, bless her heart. She saw them all. The Asian man playing cello on the rooftop. The woman in the hijab. I never knew how that's pronounced. Hijab?
Hijab.
In snapping photos. The ethnically diverse brunchers sharing a laugh. Taking to the streets, marching, and having times of the protesting. Well, the cause is beside the point. Black Lives Matter, we think. Any way you look at it, much fun. She may be in the middle of a photo shoot, but the world's coolest march is beckoning. She leaves, struts in front of the pack, and just when it looks like things may get testy, she comes upon a phalanx of stern-faced cops, killjoys. She has an idea. She hands them... What'd she hand them?
A gun.
She hands them a can of Pepsi.
I'm trying to be fun. Trying to be fun.
She hands them a can of Pepsi. And I happen to like Pepsi. In fact, I'm going to get me one.
No, that's diet. Hers probably wasn't.
Well, that's because she's not conscious of the sugar content. So, anyway, this 2017 ad, a grotesque bastardization of wokeness, political action, and Black Lives Matter movement, made people so angry at a time that all they could do was not not to shit in a wig. What is that? Who's this writer of this? This is like a really bizarre writing.
Ugh.
It was instantly pillared for its glorious tone deafness that Pepsi pulled the ad immediately. Jenner apologized on her reality show, and the world, it seemed, moved on to the next ridiculous celebrity controversy and brand that whose time had come to be canceled. But the ad renounced itself to the zeitgeist this week, like a deafening sound of soda can lid popping open in a quiet library. It serves as both a reminder of how far off mainstream culture is from the reality of protests and the country's systematic issues, and sure, a bit of comedic distraction. So, yeah, I'm sure that Kendall doesn't have a clue what the real world's like. Although, maybe she does, because isn't Kanye West involved in that family?
Yeah, he's married to...
What's her face?
Yeah, her sister.
Yeah, okay, so maybe she is a little more woke than some people. So, during the pandemic, if you had a chance to meet a superhero, who do you think you'd meet?
Wonder Woman.
How about Spider-Man?
Okay.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? Well, he says here, moreover, Tom Holland, there's a new web slinger in town. Mike Justman of New Berlin, Wisconsin, found a super way to uplift his community during the pandemic. The freelance artist and guest service leader at a gas station found his stride as a real-life hero, dressing up as Spider-Man to bring smiles to the children of his hometown. You know, sometimes it's little things like that that can make people happy. Because, I mean, we're all worried about what's going to happen here with the pandemic and with the rioting and the protests. And I'm not worried about the protests, but I am worried about the rioting. I think everybody has a right to protest whatever they need to protest. But the rioting concerns me quite a bit because I just feel like, you know, there's a right way to do things, but most of the rioters are not protesters. They're just troublemakers. But here's the man that dressed up as Spider-Man, Justman, and he got a closet with a Spider-Man costume, and he dressed up like Spider-Man.
Wow.
I think those are pretty nice costumes, by the way. I'm really surprised that it looks that good, but it does look pretty good. So he decided to post on his community Facebook group that he would be driving around on March 28th and make a few stops. More people asked if he could do it the next day. So he went to look. He said Penelope's turning 3 in quarantine. Stay super, he put, and he had the stupid little things. And I just think that would be fun, you know. And he had a mask on.
Yes, that's true. Hey, with the different masks that I've seen people wear, you know.
Yeah. I think it's kind of cool that somebody decided to, instead of making the worst of what was going on, he made the best of what was going on. And he got to go from city to city and make people smile. It's not a frog outfit or anything, but, you know. It's just, I kind of cracked up at that. So...
Hey, you have to do something nowadays.
Hey, he got... I wish I would have thought of something... Well, I could have never fit in a Spider-Man costume, but that was really smart. So,
well, if you find a costume, you can go out to the Children's Hospital and make the children smile.
They wouldn't let us in because the pandemic.
Not if you're on the outside doing, like, washing the windows on the outside.
Like a frog.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you that wondered... The frog comment. When Pam was in the hospital, somebody wanted to stand outside her office or her room and dress in a frog outfit and jump up and down because Pam was pegged as liking frogs because she had her frog dog peace talks, and that's a whole other story.
Hey, if that's what made Pam smile, I was willing to do it.
Yeah. Well.
And that was our special thing, was frogs.
Yeah. I almost don't even want to talk about this, but I have no way of not talking about this, so I'm going to talk about this. In the last, I guess it was Friday, just as we were getting over it, or not getting over it, we have yet another fatal shooting, Rashard Brooks, who is sleeping in a parking lot at a friendly Wendy's when the police went to his door and he was passed out. He could have been drunk, might have been drunk, I don't know.
What's up, my man?
But he was sleeping in his car.
What's up, man?
And here's the footage of him.
You good? You don't need a grab you or anything like that? Are you just tired? Alright, man, just I'll move my car. Just pull somewhere and take a nap. All right.
So the guy drove his car over to the parking space, and then the cops. Now this is body cam footage, so I hope I'm not stealing anybody's footage because I'll get in trouble for it.
Right now?
So the cop figured he was probably drunk.
How much did you drink tonight? Not much? How much is not much?
About a drink, about 12 today.
Alright, hey, give your license on you real quick?
Yeah.
Alright.
So he's cooperating.
Mm-hmm. Just relax the car. What are you here for a visit or what's
I'm visiting.
Where are you visiting?
My mother's gravesite.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
How long has she passed for?
It's been probably about a year and a half now, but...
Now, right there, you think about it. Now,
just passed, and
his mom just passed a year ago.
But I went to visit her, and...
Yeah.
And that's a sad thing.
We decided to eat Burger King tonight, and hey, this happened.
Right, I hear you.
I say, babe, what's going on?
Right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk to this officer here for a minute, and then we'll be good to go. Okay?
Oh no problem.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, stay in the car. Stay right there. Hey, what's going on? So, found him passed out in the parking lot. He was sitting here.
So he was in the drive?
Yeah, he was on, car's on. Took me like 3 minutes to wake him up. Kept knocking, opened the door, like, shook him. Woke up super groggy. Got pretty good smell of alcoholic beverage coming out of the car. Eyes are watery, glassy. Slurred his words. Wasn't sure where he was.
So I mean, obviously he was
drunk. He
drunk.
had one drink. He said earlier.
Tell me, I wasn't here. So can you tell me what happened before we got here?
So they gave him the test that they always give. He's doing the
heel toe.
I can just go home. I have my daughters there right now. My daughter's birthday was yesterday.
All right. Hold on, Mr. Brooks. Will you take a preliminary breath test for me? It's yes or no.
I don't want to refuse anything.
It's yes or no. It's completely up to you.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Just wait here while I grab. What kind of drinks did you have?
I'm not sure. It's something she ordered. She said top shelf or whatever.
Top shelf what?
I'm not sure. It was, like I said, it was her birthday, and
you had about 1.5 drinks, but you don't remember what kind of drinks they were?
No, sir.
All right.
I really don't, Mr. Ross.
All right. I think you've had too much to drink to be driving, so put your hands behind your back for me. Yeah, put your hands behind your back.
Yeah. So now he's trying to escape.
Hey, stop fighting! Stop fighting! Stop fighting! You're gonna get tased! You're gonna get tased! You're gonna get tased! Stop!
So we're seeing the whole footage. Last time I didn't see the whole footage.
Stop fighting! Stop fighting! Hands off the taser! Stop fighting!
I don't know why he even thought, because he wouldn't have won either way, even if he got away. He shot the taser at the cop, and the cop shot him, and he died at the hospital. So his 2 kids are no longer having a father, and obviously the situation is that the cops kind of overreacted, I think.
Come on, man.
They ruled it as a homicide, which, sadly, paramedics rushed to save Brooks, and there was stayed on the scene. The cops stayed on the scene.
If you're willing and able, I don't need anything specific at this juncture, because I know you're still evaluating it.
And that bottle's walking by itself. Looks at things. That's kind of weird.
I was called to do a DUI investigation. There's only 3 officers already on site. Yeah. Developed probable cause to arrest the suspect for DUI. He resisted arrest and he gained control of the other officer's taser and started running. As I pursued him, he turned and started firing the taser at me. Okay.
You good, you alright?
Yeah. Still got the adrenaline pumping.
You all right?
I'm okay.
All right, good. All right, we gonna take care of you, bro. I'm just glad you all right. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, good. Talk to your wife, you talk to your family, everybody?
No, I haven't called anybody other than the IPPO.
Okay. All right, hopefully we'll get this cleared up. Anything you need from me?
Any update on Mr. Brooks?
Well, I ain't checked yet, so.
Okay.
We'll get that squared away, all right?
All right.
But you good.
Unfortunately, Mr. Brooks was not very good. He died in the hospital. So, sadly, just when we were hoping it would be less happening.
Most people and most businesses.
Okay. It just fired up another whole thing, because of course it was a white officer killing a black person. And even if it was a black person killing a black person, that should not be the situation over a taser. There's no way that guy would have gotten away anyway. And the guy was stupid for even attempting it, because he was outmanned, because he was eventually going to go to jail either way.
Wow.
But now we have a whole new thing. And this was in Atlanta, which is not the most racially sensitive place in the world. So, yeah, it's another one in the long list. Now we've got, what, 4 or 5 of them that we're dealing with. The one woman was in her home, and cops shot into her home, and her boyfriend or husband was shooting back at them because he didn't know what was going on. They ended up killing her. That was like the second one. The first one was I think the guy that was running in the one neighborhood, or else it was George Floyd. I don't know. One of those two was the first one, and it just never ending. At some point, we got to take a step back and say, hey, what's going on here? Why is this happening? This should not be happening. So I don't know. Anyway, all right.
That's why I have trouble with stuff like that, because it's like, look, we should all get along.
Oh, we should. I just don't know. I'm going to do the Nietzsche thing now because I don't know. I think I don't want to forget about doing it this time because I think it's a good report, and it'll take us away from everything else because there's so much stuff going on. Oh, okay. Before I do that, I'm going to do this last one. This one here. I just talked about this girl. Her name was Beyonce. Talked about it. She demands justice for Breonna Taylor in an open letter to Kentucky Attorney General. Demonstrate the value of a black woman's life. Now, this is so unbelievable. I mean, I never even heard this one. I didn't even hear about this one. They kept saying about this one woman, and I go, I don't remember hearing about this in the news. And here this happened like in probably March. This is just ridiculous that we didn't hear it. June 14th. Yeah, March 13th. Okay, it says, though many have complained about the death of Breonna Taylor, the 26-year-old EMT worker, fatally shot on March 13th by officers from a Kentucky Louisville Metro Police Department serving a no-knock search warrant for her home as she slept. She was sleeping. Has been long overlooked. I didn't know anything about this. It says on Sunday, the singer, because of all this other stuff, this has been overshadowed. The singer who last week said the deaths of Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery have all left us broken. Ahmaud Arbery should have never happened. He was jogging, that's all, and people shot him. There's no reason to shoot a man because he's jogging. Have left us all broken during her address to graduates for YouTube's Dear Class of 2020 live stream. And she shared an open letter she's written to the Kentucky Attorney General. In the letter, posted on her website, the Freedom Singer noted that 3 months have passed since Taylor's death and 0 arrests have been made, and no officers have been fired. A reference to the 3 policemen, officers Miles Cosgrove, Brett Hankinson, and Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly, who fired into her apartment, according to the lawsuit filed by Taylor's family. The officers shot 20 rounds into the home, 8 striking an unarmed Taylor as she slept, and exchanged gunfire with her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, who has said he took them to be intruders. So they have a no-knock. I never heard of a no-knock warrant. Where did I see that?
Yeah.
Where would I see that?
They have a right to just go right in.
Yeah, well, that's really stupid, because they were obviously. What would you do if someone came into your house? You would want to protect your house if not knowing what's going on. Pointing to inconsistency.
But if I knew I had a warrant out, whether it was a no-knock or not,
right,
I wouldn't be there.
Yeah, posting to inconsistency in the case, which is still under investigation, Beyonce added her name to those in the Say Her Name movement. She has not gotten any publicity as far as I can tell. They've talked about, Aubrey has been talked about, Floyd has been talked about nonstop, and, I have not heard anything about this until this past weekend. So it kind of is weird to think that it's been, overlooked totally. It says she pressed Cameron to commit to transparency while investigating and prosecuting the 3 men, and to review the persuasive practices used in the LMPD interactions with people of color. Don't let this case fall into a pattern of no action after a terrible tragedy. With every death of a black person at the hands of the police, there are two real tragedies: the death itself and the inaction and delays that follow it. This is your chance to send to end that pattern. Take swift and decisive decision in charging officers. The next months cannot look like the last 3. In her letter, the Star urged Cameron to demonstrate the value of a black woman's life. While Taylor's death has resulted in a ban of no-knock warrants in Louisville, known as Breonna's Law, and potentially on the federal level, many have expressed outrage and dissatisfaction on how the death has been handled. Earlier in the week, Jada Pinkett, Alicia Keys, and Beyonce's close friend, Destiny's Child bandmate Kelly Rowland, and Sia were among those urging Taylor's action on Taylor's behalf. You know, I just don't understand. I mean, 20 rounds shot in this no-knock warrant. I mean, that just sounds like that we shouldn't be having those kind of things.
No.
We don't even know why they were just deciding to break into this place. And there's got to be a better way than just breaking in. I mean, if someone came into my house, I'd be shooting at them too.
Right.
And if anybody took out my dog at the meeting, I'd be furious at them. You know?
Well, let's see. This is the second week in a row that I've come in and your dog hasn't barked at me.
Well, he doesn't want to...
He loves me.
He doesn't want to even acknowledge your existence.
Oh, I don't know. He come over and he let me love on him. So he loves me.
John Cryer. This is a picture of John Cryer. Do you know him?
No.
Okay, he was in Two and a Half Men. I never watched that show.
I didn't either.
But he was also in Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles and all that stuff. He is Lex Luthor in the Supergirl series.
Oh, wow.
He is just the meanest guy in the world on these TV shows. It's awesome. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm really shocked at the whole thing. I really am shocked. I'm saddened and shocked. So, I'm thinking you're going to go.
Yeah, well, you're going to play that niche thing.
Yeah, it's probably about 6 minutes, 7 minutes. But, yeah. And I'll just close the show. I've got a lot of stuff yet. I had a lot of material today. And I didn't think I'd have that much material, but... here's the Dauphin County is set to go green, but it doesn't mean go full speed ahead. I have a friend who has gone out to eat like 5 times in the past week and a half.
Wow.
And she said that they're seating people indoors. She was so happy because she got served. Now, obviously, she took the outside seating, and which I think she was in an inside place too, but they weren't at full capacity or anything like that, and she still wore her mask and all that stuff whenever needed. But I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid that we're going to go back when I mean, we're green now, right?
No, not till Friday.
Okay. Oh, that's what the article is. Yeah. Okay.
Because, like, I know
Set
some
to
of the
green.
restaurants around here that I've seen, they have the outdoor seating.
Yeah. Here we go. Dauphin County is set to go green, but it doesn't mean go full
Right.
speed ahead. They're gonna. I still want to get a haircut. I cut my own hair about 2 weeks ago because it was just getting so long, and I don't know how to cut my hair. And I was like, I really messed it up, and then I evened it out and stuff, and it's still not right, but it's better than having it the way it was. I really want to go get a haircut someday. I want to know what that's like.
Well,
but I don't want to go. I don't want
the
anybody that
lady
close to me.
that's just up here in Millersville that I want to do mine the next time. I went to school with her husband. I saw where she has very strict things that she's going to follow when they open up. Like, you have to schedule your time. You can't just do a walk-in.
Yeah, right.
And you cannot be early because, they have to allow for time for cleaning and things like this. And
Well, at
she
least
says
they're
the
able-
prices will be higher than normal.
Well, they got to be because they can't go through volume.
Right.
But it says here that it was set to. It says more and more Pennsylvanians are going green. Dauphin, Franklin, Huntington, Luzerne, Monroe, Perry, Pike, and Shorekill. Shorekill.
Yeah.
Counties are moving from the yellow phase to reopening green next Friday. So,
And that's, people think green means go, to just go back the way we were.
Well,
No.
I mean, it just we can now have indoor. So.
But only at half capacity.
Right, whatever the capacity, yeah. Yeah, half capacity. You're real smart there.
Yeah, I do read.
I give you an A for effort. Even though it should be an E for effort. But yeah, I'm kind of happy about that, but I'm afraid of that because I'm afraid of what is going to come next and how many idiots are going to go out there and not, be able to...
You know what's really weird?
What's that?
The cafe area in my office building, they only have 1 seat per table.
Wow.
That's all we are allowed.
Wow.
So I just, for all the time, the 2 half days that I'm in the office,
Yeah.
I just take something and eat at my desk.
Oh, here's the thing I talked about earlier. Blood pressure drug could lower virus deaths.
Ooh, which drug's that?
I'll tell you in a sec. Because I found this. This was in a new study has found drugs that are widely used to control high blood pressure may help against COVID. There we go. There we go. We got this right here. Right there. The report diminishes previous concerns that they could make the symptoms of coronavirus worse. It found patients with high blood pressure did have twice the risk of death from the virus. Ooh. And were more likely to need mechanical ventilation to help them breathe than those without hypertension. Researchers found, I told you it was European, reportedly that Thursday in the European Heart Journal found that taking any medicine to control their blood pressure has significantly lowered the risk of dying from coronavirus.
Boy, am I glad I take my blood pressure medication.
The study included that nearly 2,900 patients admitted in February and March to Hu Shan Hospital in Wuhan, China. Try to say that a couple times.
Fast.
Yeah, I can't even say it slowly. But it says that the city where the coronavirus originated, and that's how they, what it said.
See, I do take my medicine.
Well, I mean, I really hope that this is the case, that it really is going to be a possible thing. But, I mean, this is the first thing positive we heard. Now, we're going to have to really keep we're going to have to keep testing. But if that is the case, boy, wouldn't it be nice to know that there's something someone can take. And that might be part of the reason why you are doing okay.
Could
you're
be.
Taking high blood pressure.
Plus, I'm also keeping, the social distancing. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. So, and I'm constantly being tested, so.
Well, I mean, that would explain why some people get it and some people don't. I mean, if they already are taking the meds, it may keep you from getting it. I don't know. So, something to think about. But I thought you'd like that, seeing that story, because, that I knew I talked about, but I didn't know if I had the actual thing. And it says here, from hair salons to gyms, 36 activities by risk level.
Wow.
I'm not going to really go into that, but it's I would imagine hair salons is way up there, and so is. Let's see if they do actually have a list. Okay, bars have a 9 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
Concerts 9 out of 10. Sports stadiums 8 out of 10. Gyms are 8 out of 10. I told you gyms were high. Amusement parks 8 out of 10.
Anybody where there's a lot of people crammed together.
Churches 8 out of 10. Buffets 8 out of 10. Basketball 7 out of 10. Public pools 7 out of 10. Schools 7 out of 10. Casinos 6 out of 10. See, casinos are better for you than schools or public pools or basketball or buffets. Ooh, right. Buffets. Restaurants 6 out of 10. Indoor seating. What's this? Playground 6 out of 10. Hair salon 6 out of 10. Pontoon boat rides. What would that be different from other boat rides? It's only a 6 out of 10. Movie theaters 6 out of 10. Dinner parties 5 out of 10. Airplanes, 5 out of 10. Bathroom bathroom barbecues. Backyard barbecues, 5 out of 10. Malls, 5 out of 10. Beaches, 5 out of 10. Bowling, 5 out of 10. Dentist office, 4 out of 10. Now we're getting busy. Walking down a busy street is 4 out of 10. Offices, 4 out of 10. Doctor's office, waiting rooms, 4 out of 10. Eating outside, 4 out of 10. Getting groceries, 3 out of 10. See, that's the only one I've done so far. Camping, 3 out of 10. Hotels, 3 out of 10. I did that. Golfing, 3 out of 10. Libraries and museums, or as Ken would say, libraries, 3 out of 10. Going for a walk, run, bike, ride with others, 2 out of 10. Getting fuel, 2 out of 10. Getting fuel in my case is even lower because I do it here. Getting takeout, 1 out of 10. Playing tennis, 1 out of 10. So there you go. There's your top things that you can do and what your risk is.
See, usually getting takeout is either curbside pickup or like delivery.
Yep. And of the 600, almost 600 healthcare workers have died. Majority of them are people of color.
Wow. I
wonder why that is, because I would think that their basic makeup is the same as ours. Why would that have been a difference? I think. I mean, that's weird.
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, you going?
Yeah. Are you playing the niche thing?
Yeah. You gonna stay for it?
Well, you said it's only about what, 6 minutes?
It's not that long. Let me bring it up, and I was thinking you were.
I was going to, but then you were talking about that stuff, and I wanted to hear what the number 1 was on the list.
Yeah, I had no idea because I didn't look at that list ahead of time. All right, we'll bring up the niche thing. All right, now let's see here. Got to think here. Got to do switcheroonie here. Okay, there's the niche thing. Oh, that takes out the bottom part of the niche thing, so you can't see the topic. Oh. So
well, you could always drop the bar.
Well, yeah, not easily. But I know that for next time. Actually, when I take me off of here, you might see it. So now I need to go up here and find the right... There we go. There it is. All right. We got a niche report. Gotta think how I do this. So I need to do this. And I know it's going to wipe out my thing here. Where's the files? There it is. Where's my niche file? Come on. You can do it. It's going to be a pain in the butt.
Of course it will.
Recent. I'll do it recent. Oh, go to my... There it is. Gave an error code. Now it'll go there. And... Where is it?
So you want everything to work right, so nothing will work right.
Yeah, I haven't had much of that. It's not this one. It's not that one. Where is it? I had it. No, come on. You gotta... Family Ties. Where are you at? Maybe it's down here. Oh, come on. Guess what?
You're not going to have it. And you even told me to remind
that's
you.
That's ridiculous. I got it.
And I even reminded you.
I can't believe I don't have it. I had it. It was on here. There were 3 niches. Where is it? Oh.
See, I told you should have played it first.
Well, I couldn't have played it first because it's still not there.
But if you said it was there...
It can be there if I want to run up and get it. But then you'd have to talk for a few minutes. So.
Yeah, and this close to the end? Yeah,
That's not going to happen. So the alternative is...
You play it first next week.
I could play the Road Warrior. Did we determine that I played the Road Warrior? I didn't...
I don't think so.
I could do the Road Warrior one. Irritates me. Wait a minute. Let me look at this. Oh, that's what I did. Okay. That's what I did. Darn. I had it already. I swear I did. I really thought that I had it. Now I really am mad because it's not here. And I can't remember the stuff that he did because I can't do it cold turkey. So, rats. And I could do the Road Warrior one, I guess. But I can't remember if we did it or not.
I don't think we did.
Alright. I guess that's what I'll do. Well, that's got to change my schedule a little bit here. Let me change when I... Alright, we're going to change us up a little bit because this isn't what I planned on doing. I'm changing it because I can still make it work. That'll kind of work. There we go. Okay. So I guess I'll play this one instead. I really wanted to play the other one first, but I'll do this one. So here we go on Road Warriors. This is about 10 minutes. So
hey guys, it's Meech. How you doing? Happy Tuesday. Just wanted to comment on the latest Viceland episode, Dark Side of the Ring. It had to do with the Road Warriors. None of it really surprised me because I had read Joe Laurinaitis' book, who of course was Animal. Most of the stuff that you saw Tuesday night, Joe kind of talked about in his book. So I wasn't really surprised, but I must say that it was a tremendous episode. They only get better. Like I said, I don't know if you could find a bad episode they've done yet. They've really done a great job. The people they get to interview, it's just a phenomenon that they've got going here, and I hope they continue to do it. It was really interesting to just see how different Hawk and Animal really were. You would think with the mohawk, the face paint, the tough guy mentality, that he was this big party animal, no pun intended. He really wasn't. He was more of a guy who did the business, but he also provided for his family. He was big on being a family man, and I read that in his book a lot. I mean, he talks very passionately and affectionately about his family in the book. But it's just amazing to me how you had one guy who had it all together, and you had another guy who really didn't. I'm not here to kill Hawk. He's no longer with us. As far as a wrestler goes, I've said this a million times. This tag team was the Hulk Hogan of tag teams. They were Stone Cold Steve Austin before Stone Cold Steve Austin was Stone Cold. Think about this. They tried to have these guys be heels all the time, especially in the NWA, AWA, and the fans would not allow them to be heels. They would just continue to cheer them. My first introduction to them, seeing them wrestle, was a tag team match in the AWA. It was them versus Aaron Von Raschke and Kurt Hennig. And they choked Kurt Hennig into the rope, tangled him up, and then just started beating the piss out of him. And I was so scared of that team. I had never seen a team like that. And they made you at that point hate them because here they are beating up this poor defenseless guy. So I was just like, oh my God, they are just hurting this kid. And then I would see a rematch where it was Kurt Hennig and his father, Larry the Axe, and they fought the Road Warriors again. And I mean, they just started pounding on Larry the Axe, who he was no skinny guy by any means. But this team was just so dominant. And then I followed them to the NWA. That's how I really got into the NWA, is when I saw that they were in it. They were faces in the beginning. They had some great matches. I think that scaffold match with the Midnight Express, which they showed you a little bit the other night. They were so popular. But they were so popular that the NWA tried to turn them heel back in around like 1988. They had them turn on Dusty Rhodes and Sting. The fans would just not allow this team to be a heel tag team. They loved them. They said in an interview, Sting, Dusty Rhodes, and the NWA and the fans could all go straight to hell. And the fans didn't even boo them. The fans loved them. You could just tell that no matter what they did, they could have severely hurt someone, and these fans were going to cheer them. And that's how big they were. It really is amazing that they had it all. Joe really embraced it, and then Mike really didn't. He liked to party. He liked to do different things. They had finally got to the WWF. They had finally decided to take that chance, and they got over right away. I mean, they couldn't use the Road Warrior name, which I had known that forever because Vince McMahon had the Ultimate Warrior, and he did not want any more Warriors. That's because Eric had to be the Texas Tornado. Here they are on this great run in the WWF, like they're really taking off. It got stalled a little bit because Hawk got suspended for a drug possession or drug violation, so they eventually get the belts. They didn't get the belts right away because he got in trouble and he had to be suspended. And what's really telling is you could see there was some resentment by Animal towards Hawk, because when Hawk got in trouble, Animal had to suffer too, because they didn't sign Animal to be a singles wrestler. They signed him to be a tag team wrestler with Hawk. When Hawk got in trouble, Animal paid the price. I'll never forget, they got the belts from the Nasty Boys. It was a classic match at SummerSlam at Madison Square Garden. The crowd went nuts when they gave the belts. They really looked like they were going to have a long run. And then right after the Royal Rumble in January, Hawk again tested positive for cocaine or whatever he was doing, and he got suspended. So by him getting suspended, again, that affected Animal, and they were out, and then they would come back at WrestleMania, and I think they brought Paul Ellering in. I'm being real serious when I say this. I think they brought him in hoping he could control Hawk, because it got to the point where, like, Vince McMahon's patience was running out when it came to Hawk. Couldn't take it anymore with him. Hawk just liked to party, and I had always heard the story. They did do their doomsday device on Vince McMahon, and they did kind of tell that story. I think Barry Darsow might have told that story. Somebody told that story, and I thought that was really cool. And there were so many good things about it. What's crazy, too, is after SummerSlam at Wembley Stadium, Hawk had already gotten in trouble before that match. And if you watch that match, Hawk definitely looks like he's definitely had a few in him, unfortunately, and that's really a shame. Animal kind of had to carry that match. It could have been a better match if Hawk were sober and stuff. But right after that match, Hawk gets fired, and then they tell Animal, maybe after a month, I think they had him working singles as a house show, they said, listen, we hate to do this, but you guys were signed as a package, and since he's not going to be wrestling, we're going to have to let you go too. So, I mean, Animal suffered a lot because of Hawk's problems, and that was really unfortunate right there. And then what was even worse was Animal had some issues with his back, so he had to get his back fixed. And Hawk went out to Japan, and it's fine that Hawk got a new partner. There's nothing wrong with that. What Hawk was wrong about was making it the Road Warriors in Japan. I think they were called the Power Warriors or something, but it was still the Road Warriors gimmick. He did it with Tatsumi Fujinami. That was unnecessary. It really was. It wasn't right for him to do, and Animal didn't deserve that. That's where Hawk was selfish a lot in that regard. But with that said, Animal really did love Hawk like a brother. So Animal, in time, forgave him, and they did make him come back. They don't bring it up, but they did go to WCW first before they came back to the WWF. And shame on Eric Bischoff and those guys for not seeing what an explosive tag team this was. They made them put Sting and Booker T over at a pay-per-view in a Chicago street fight. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's just ridiculous. So they never used them. And then when the Road Warriors did come back to the WWF, I mean, they did beat the Godwins, but then they lost them a month later to the New Age Outlaws, who had no business. I'm sorry, I know the New Age Outlaws were over to an extent, but they had no business ever going over on the Road Warriors. Things like that I never understood about Vince. He just never made sense to me. I actually met the Road Warriors one time, and I got to say, they were really nice. They were doing an autograph signing. I'll never forget, they looked very tired, and I remember I said to Hawk, I said, God, you guys must be exhausted doing all this stuff. And Hawk said, you know what? A half hour more of this, and then it's home to Mama. You know, he was very friendly in that regard, and I thought that was really nice. And I was happy to see that Hawk did turn his life around, because he really did. I thought what the WWF did, trying to use his alcoholism as part of the angle, was just tasteless. There's certain things you don't cross the line with, and that's one thing the WWF did too much of. They did that. They did that with Matt Hardy, Lita, and Edge. I mean, there's a fine line you don't cross, in my opinion, and they crossed it there. But he turned his life around. Unfortunately, years of abuse took over, and his heart gave out. But he really did turn it around. He got help. He met that lady Dale, who changed his life. And it had a happy ending in the sense that at least he died because his heart gave out. He didn't die from overdosing or anything like that. he went to church and stuff and kind of rebuilt himself. Funny thing is, back in June, I think he died in October, back in June, him and Hannibal, one more match at Raw, they came in and they fought Rob Van Dam and Kane, just like to see, you know, maybe the WWF would be interested in signing them, and they put them over that night. But they were the greatest tag team of all time. The Steiners are great, and they're probably the second best of all time. And I don't disrespect the Steiners. They might have more talent than the Road Warriors, but tag team wrestling became popular because of the Road Warriors. It really did. So I think these episodes are great. As I speak to you right now, obviously in about a half hour, the Owen Hart one is going to be on. That's going to be the season finale. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one for me to discuss. I will discuss it, but it's going to be hard because I've said this. I said this the other night. 20 years now since that happened, 21 years, and I got to tell you, it still bothers me. I can still remember it as clear as day when I heard about it, what was going on, and just I remember weeks and weeks after it happened, like I could not get past that. It just bothered me so much. So be interesting to see how that goes. I hope everybody's staying safe. You guys are great, and hopefully we get through this pandemic. I really hope so. Have a great night, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. All right, with that, it's time to say goodbye. And thank you for the Nietzsche report, as we always look forward to what he has to say. And I want to thank you all for listening in. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, you can always call 717-695-8500 and leave a message, and we'll play it on the air. So, all right, it's time to say goodbye, Gracie.
Goodbye, Gracie.
And I'm going to see if I can get this thing to play right, as sometimes it does. Well, usually it's my fault it doesn't. Like, for instance, I can do it. I'll forget to do it next week. I'll say, where's the sound at? Like this week happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't do that. Yeah, I can. Okay. All right. See you guys next week. And remember, as the most important part, this is it.
We're still the one. We've been together since way back when. This year's gonna be a winner, yeah. We are still the one with something new. Still the one that's gonna see you through. You're still having fun, and we're still the one.
That's the one for that one. Stop. Okay, that one stopped. Then we stop this one. There. Then we stop this one. There.